is here. It's big. And it's closer than you think. It's not a tournament. It's what you don't see on TV. The cash is real. The stakes are high. They bet big. They win big. They lose big. High stakes live action poker. Live at the bike. Watch it live on the web or play it if you dare at the Bicycle Casino right here in Los Angeles.
Hello everyone, welcome to Live at the Bike, brought to you by the Bicycle Casino in Los Angeles, California, the first and only webcast of real action, cash game poker. My name is Bart Hansen, I'm here with Dave Tuckman. What are you trying to one-up me tonight?
No, like I told you before, I pretty much one-up you every night.
Oh, I see. What's with the monkey suit anyways?
Just felt like looking good tonight.
Alright, well tonight's Friday, we're going to be doing 10-20, no limit hold'em. Got a pretty special player on the table, Surinder Sunar, English player,
over $3 million in winnings, career winnings.
$3 million in career winnings, WPT champion in 2004 at the Aviation Club. Anyone remember the kind of banter that Tony G tried to get him off his game a little bit at that final table?
And obviously Surinder would have done. You know, it's funny, I actually just saw Surinder. I was watching a replay of the 96 U.S. Championship in Atlantic City that Phil Hellmuth got knocked out in third, I believe, and Surinder was in that. He was the final table there, which was really interesting.
Well, we got word that Frank Mariani might come into the game, although he's not here yet. Let's head over there and let's get started.
Let's do it. Seat number one, we've got the ever-lovingly, always good player. We got Trish there, Corporation Mom, very good poker player. She wasn't really on her game, I got to tell you, on Wednesday night. Let's see if she rebounds tonight. We got Corporation Mike making a return trip today. Now, with Legends being here and a big game in every single night, you know, Mike is going to be here every single night pretty much.
Yeah.
Seat number three, we've got one of my favorite players, actually. I haven't seen him play cash games as much, but he's really a very good tournament player. This is Franco. Really, really a very good player and somebody to fear. Seat number four, also another good player, Kenny Wynn. Very tight, very solid, very aggressive. But not aggressive in the terms of like Corporation Mike. But when he's got it, when he thinks he's the best of it, he's going to push. He's not going to play passive at all. Seat number five is the man. That is lucky. That is Surinder Sunar. Seat number six, we've got Barry Woods, not at the table right now. Seat number seven, we're going to have Alan. And Alan has been on an absolute tear lately. He's in for about, I say, up over $35,000 the last 3 nights. And he actually told me he's going to buy in for a little more than he normally buys in for tonight. Usually likes to buy in for the minimum. I think he's going to buy in for $3,000. Seat number 8, we've got Mo. That's Action Mo. And seat number 9, we've got anything but Action Corey.
What's with all the kind of different seating arrangements?
Very strange. Yeah. More importantly, what is up with Corey's shirt?
Yeah,
dude, can you buy a different colored shirt?
I have a story. I asked him.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's one thing. You know what? It's one thing if you're at a poker hall, but if you're going to be on a TV show, night in, night out, bring a different shirt. Come on. You got to be kidding me. So once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen. We're doing 10-20, no limit blinds, unrestricted buying game. This game should get big.
Franco there, first hand of the night there, Queen Jack. He's going to take it down. He raised the flop. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. If you see yellows, they're $5 chips. Blue ones are $1 tokes for the dealers. As you can see, Franco has probably close to 2,000 there. Stack of brown is 200. Stack of white is 2,000. Going to be interesting to see Surinder Sunar. Now, you know, a lot of successful tournament players, from what I have seen, are kind of the live ones in the cash games. They don't properly adjust to a cash game. But Surinder is not really a laggy tournament player. From what I've seen of his tournament play, he's pretty tight, almost like a Mel Judah type.
Well, it's funny. Some of the best tournament players in the world are not very good cash game players, but some of them really are defy logic. You know, you look at players like Alan Cunningham, you look at players like Phil Ivey, who are phenomenal across the board. They just know how to adapt to the game, and you wonder if Surinder's going to be in the same category as that.
Now, Mike brought this one in for a raise, and we're heads up here against That's Alan, and probably Alan is going to check and fold here, I'd imagine. King Jack 6 here with a couple hearts.
Yeah, Alan's completely missed the flop. Now,
and Mike loves to get it heads up with Alan because you can just bet and he'll basically fold if he misses. Now you're watching this. This is a free half-an-hour sample of Live at the Bike. If you want to watch this whole show in its entirety, Click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Subscribe to the archives, gets you access to every single show we've ever done, and it allows you to watch the show in its entirety. Special programming note, on Sunday of this week, we are going to be streaming the final table of the ladies event starting at noontime. We will not be doing a show on Monday, and we will cover that event in its entirety, so we'll go as long as it takes.
And if you want to play in that event, by the way, the event starts tomorrow on Saturday.
Yep.
4 cocktails at 2:30.
Yep.
They shuffle up and deal at 4:15. It's a $100 buy-in tournament. Final table, like you said, will be on Live at the Bike, and if you win the final table, you get to be on the WPT.
You got it.
It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Now look at this. Mike is limped in with jacks in late position, and Franco is also just limped in with ace-queen. Now we need to see surrenders cards in seat 5. We've got 5-way action limped around. And look at this. Mo's got top 2 pair. Is Mike going to get involved here? Remember, it's an unraised pot, and Mo's going to come out and bet 10-3-9 here on the flop.
Yeah, you really got to be aware of that. You got to be aware of the fact that obviously it's a draw-heavy board, but at the same time, very easy for your opponent to have 2 pair here, top 2.
Now Mo bets and Mike raises. Now this is always the question, Dave, I have to ask. If Mo comes back and pushes, will Mike continue on with the hand in a limp pot?
Well, the problem is that Mo would push with a flush draw. Mo would also push with, say, Jack-Queen. It's a tougher laydown than you might say. Now, let's say Alan were to push. I think it's an easy laydown. But Mo pushing, Mo is aggressive enough that he might push with a draw here.
And he is going to re-push here. He's going to raise it up. 300 more, just a mini raise here. $200 bet, or Mike makes it, or $100 bet, Mike makes it 300. Mo has now re-raised 300 more. This pot is $1,000, 300 here for Mike to call.
And Mike's in terrible shape here. Really terrible shape. He's getting either 3 or a jack or running hearts right now.
$900 pot, actually. 300 here for Mike to call. Now, again, remember, and look at this. Mike is going to commit here, Dave.
Yep, he is.
Unbelievable, and Mo has him.
And pretty sure Mo is going to call this, obviously.
Yeah.
And Mike is in bad shape here. He's a 2-to-1 dog with 2 cards to come.
There's no way Mo's getting away from this from Mike.
No, definitely not.
I think Mike might do this with ace-10, too.
Well, that's the whole thing. Mike might do this with 2 hearts. Yeah, and he says, I'm not going anywhere here. I call.
Yeah. And this pot is going to be over $4,000, maybe $5,000.
And obviously that's a big problem if you're going to commit all of your chips with a pair of jacks on this kind of board in an unraised pot.
Now they're asking about making a deal and running it more than once, of course.
And they're trying to figure out what they have here. Well, Mo has showed them.
Well, of course, Mike, the F-bombs and stuff, but you're going to limp in with jacks and you got 5-way action.
I know, as if it's shocking. Like, what, you can't flop 2 pair? Nobody's allowed to flop 2 pair against you? It's not a very good board for jacks, is it really? If you're taking any heat on a board like that, you've got to realize that you're probably not good.
So let's see what they're going to do. Maybe just once. Turns a 5. Here we go to the river. The river's a 6. Well, I guess they're going to run it more than once.
And, Mo in the first one.
Turns a king. Mike needs
a jack or queen.
Or counterfeit, and the river's a 4 here. Yeah, he picked up a straight draw. They're going to run it 3 times.
7, he needs a 7, a 3, or a jack.
And the river's an ace, and Mo wins all 3.
Yep.
And apparently from what we saw there, Mo was only a 2-to-1 favorite there.
Yeah, that's all he is.
Yep.
It's only 2-to-1. You got to realize that you can get running straight cards, obviously. Remember, if an 8, a 7, a queen, or a king come off, Mike picks up a straight draw.
Right.
If a heart comes off, Mike picks up more outs. And Mike inherently is going to pick up more outs no matter what. Now, you see, like there, the 7 comes off, right? Well, now Mike can catch a 7, a 3, an 8. Now, if it was a 7 of hearts, it's even more outs. So Mike wasn't in that bad shape, but obviously you don't really want to put your money in as a 2-to-1 dog.
As always, you can email us at liveatthebike.com. Boston made a nice post on 2+2 and emailed us regarding his explanation of a few hands that he played on Monday regarding when he played with Kevin.
Oh, good. Okay. Cool.
So thank you very much.
I got to hand it to you, Bart, man. I got to tell you. What was the over-under you said of the stud tournament today? Now, once again, Legends of Poker, today was day 2 of yesterday's $1,500 no-limit hold'em tournament. But at 4:15, started a $500 stud.
I said 95, didn't I?
Right. You want to know the exact number?
What?
95.
That's unbelievable.
You hit it right on the dot.
Which means if we had done an under-over, it would have been a push, right?
Well, I was thinking, I was like, I probably would have gone the under just by a couple of people. And you had it exactly right. Very impressive. You should get into handicapping.
Yeah. Limped around here, 7-5-6. And Mike has got 4-5 here. He's going to bet a pair and the open-ended straight draw here, the bottom end of it. He's got 4-5.
Yeah, I'm not thinking about it at all. You're right.
Now, is Mo...
Now, the whole point, the interesting thing is the whole point of limping in with jacks is to disguise the strength of your hand.
What is Mo calling with here? He has Jack 9, that's why, not Jack 10. That makes a lot more sense. I was like, what is he calling with there with Jack 10?
Not much more sense, though.
Yeah. Well, he's got a gut shot to the 8 with overs. Here we go to the turn. The turn's a 3, and Mike has a straight. And Mike bets again. He bets 400 here. And Mo is going to be out of there.
Thanks, man. It's true.
Mike takes it down.
No, I was going to say, the whole point of limping in with jacks, obviously, is to disguise the strength of your hand. So if the flop comes out, say, ace, jack, 5, or jack, blank, blank, nobody would ever put you on a set of jacks because they go, oh, wouldn't you raise with jacks? And that's the whole point of it. You're looking for that set value of it. You've got to realize that if you have an overcard, if it's just an overpair, you've got to realize that in a limped around pot 5 or 6 ways, you are vulnerable to 2 pair or a smaller set.
Button moves over here to seat 8. That's Mo, and Mike is going to straddle.
So once again, today's events were the day 2 of the $1,500 No Limit Legends, stud $500, and then tomorrow obviously is the ladies' event. Final table will be on Sunday on Live at the Bike. No show on Monday. And like you said, Sunday's show will be open to everybody.
Open to everyone. Yep.
Archive subscribers and not.
Yep.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Limped around here 4 ways. Mike did not raise in the straddle with King 9. First hand, we're going to see Surrender play here with Jack 10. Well, Surrender's got a pair and a straight draw. Mike has got King 9. He's got a straight draw, and he's going to come out and bet.
Well, Mo's got top and bottom now. How's that?
Yep. Mo's flopped Ace 10 here. Now, is Surrender going to get involved? It's really not a good flop there for Jack 10, and he folds. I have a feeling that Surrender's going to probably play a pretty solid game here tonight. I'll just throw that out at you.
I mean, the guy, it's not like he was like a one-hit wonder.
Right.
If you look at his record over the last 15 years.
Now, Mo raised it to 200, and Mike called. The turn's a 9. And it goes check, check. Mo does not bet the turn, and the river here is a 7. And now Mo is going to bet a little bit there for value. It's funny, you talk about checking the turn to control pot size. I don't know if I would have checked the turn there with a hand as strong as Ace 10. With
against Mike?
Yeah, with an Action Killer Broadway card that might come.
Well, the only thing is, though, it's not necessarily... See, against Mike, though, I think you got to throw things out the window. By checking that turn, you're inducing a bluff, and that might come.
Yeah.
You might get an extra $600 out of Mike, because he might bluff at it.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is...
I want to point out, Dave, that we posted a new video blog, and it's very interesting because we analyzed the high-stakes poker hand between Negreanu and Gus Hansen, and you analyzed it not knowing that was what was going on. And I changed the stack sizes and bet amounts to the ratio down to a 5-10 no limit game. So check that out in the left-hand corner.
It was really interesting, actually, and obviously I had no idea who I was criticizing, but... Yeah. Actually, I guess I was criticizing the way Daniel Negreanu and Gus Hansen both played the hands.
And a lot of people have.
Yeah.
Now,
well, you know what? Nobody's above criticism. Everybody makes mistakes, and you got to realize that happens.
Now, we always talk about that these guys are so familiar, though, with each other's games that, if we do get Negreanu in here, and I hope we do, we'll definitely ask him. Maybe we can play him the, how we analyze him, what he thinks about,
right.
When he doesn't raise the turn there. Does Gus know that because Daniel didn't raise the turn, that Daniel doesn't have an overpair? That's why he check-raised the river?
The thing is, though, that's the only thing you've got to caution. Since you did not give me the names, you've got to realize that when somebody is so familiar, it's almost the equivalent of, imagine I was playing against you in a real game, okay? How familiar you and I are with each other.
Right.
The stuff the way we normally would play against each other has to completely go out the window. And we might play it backwards, completely different. Somebody might look at the way I play a hand against you and go, what the hell is Tuckman doing?
Right.
But it's the only way I can get action from you because you know exactly what I have otherwise.
Now, Surrender is open raised here with pocket 7s just to 50, and he gets 3 callers, Jack 4-10 here, and it looks like Franco with King 10 has the best hand here. And it gets checked around. Turns a 3, let's see. And now Mike is going to come out. He turns 2 pair.
Yep.
Mike's turn 2 pair. And it's surprising, Franco doesn't even get involved. It really puts you in a tough spot when Mike comes out and bets with 2 people behind you because Franco might have the best hand. And Allen calls with a 4. And the river here is a heart. Wow, if Allen could ever bet here on the come and represent a heart here. But Mike's going to come out and bet a little stop bet here. He bets 200.
Allen's thinking about it. Problem is, the more he thinks about it, the more obvious it is that he's bluffing. And this is the spot where Alan will bluff, actually. Believe it or not, you're saying that, would he do that?
Well,
wow, he's going to
yeah,
call,
because he has a pair and Mike bet. I don't necessarily know if I've ever seen him bluff raise, though.
I've seen him do it. I've
Really?
seen him do that only on there when he's like he's missed a draw,
Yeah.
or he's missed what he thought was a draw at least,
Yeah.
and he's trying to represent specifically like hearts in that case.
Again, you can email us at live@thebike.com. Questions, comments, suggestions, always appreciated. If you're watching this, you've got about 10 or 15 minutes left in the live sample of this show. If you want to watch this entire show, click on the on-demand banner in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. Sign up for the archives. Tonight's game is 10-20 No Limit Hold'em with Surrender Sunar. Over $3 million in tournament wins. WPT champion from 2004 at the Aviation Club.
I tell you, if you check his accomplishments out over at Hendon Mob, you see that he has been around the game for quite some time, and been doing well for quite some time.
Now, Barry Woods, welcome to the game. He's going to raise it to 80 here with Jack 9 offsuit. Barry had played a pretty tight game the last few weeks. He's going to open it up here a little bit. Mike calls with the same hand.
Now, this is interesting. He's raising. Now, Barry's raising it with a real questionable hand in early position.
Well, how about this,
And
though?
the funny thing is, he's not really looking ahead because he's raising Mike's button.
Well, how about this, though? Franco is going to re-raise out of the blind with 4-5 of diamonds. Wow.
Well, he's in great shape, actually, because both players have Jack 9.
Well, Barry folds, and Mike is going to call. Now, we would say, well, it's a good chance that Franco might be able to lead at this flop and take it because Mike's probably not going to hit anything. But that doesn't mean anything. Mike might stay in there. And look at this. He's flopped an open-ended straight draw, and Franco has a diamond draw.
Well, Franco's going to bet this. This is a no-brainer.
Queen deuce 10 here. He's going to bet 300. Might Mike raise right here? Well, Mike is just going to call.
Well, no, Franco's representing a big pair. There's no real point in raising this.
And there's the diamond, and Franco's got it.
And unfortunately for Franco, it's not the 8 of diamonds. Imagine it was the 8 of diamonds or the King of diamonds.
And he's going to come out and bet again. He bet 700 here. Not scared. And you wonder if Mike was waiting possibly to represent the diamond as well.
Well, that's the thing. You know what I'm wondering here is, I'm wondering why Franco didn't actually put in kind of a... Now, normally if I'm, say, $6,000 or $7,000 deep, I was going to say I love the bet because Mike might make a move here. But let me ask you this, though. Here,
Put a little weak bet in there.
If you put a $400 bet in there, that actually might induce a move for Mike.
And the river is the 8 of diamonds.
Well, it's the 8, though.
Yeah.
It's the 8 of diamonds, though. It's the 4th diamond out there, so even though Mike makes the flop...
Right.
Actually, Mike would have won.
That's what I'm saying.
Mike
Mike's
would have
got the
won.
9
I'm
of
sorry.
diamonds.
You're right.
Mike's got the 9 of diamonds.
Wow.
Now, it didn't go to the river there.
No.
Franco wins the hand. 4-5 of diamonds.
But you wonder if that's a move to make, though. Now, once he puts 700 in there, Mike knows he can't get him off the hand.
Yeah.
What the hell am I doing? If you had aces, try to build a pot,
Again, though, I think maybe the
And
best...
they all think he has aces. Look at that. When you have aces, hey, why not build a pot?
I think the best way maybe to play there against Mike is I wouldn't necessarily check the turn. Because Mike is sometimes cagey. He will check behind you. But I think you might put in what is a scared bet when you have an overpair to a third diamond. Get Mike to raise you.
Yeah, you know what you do is what I might do is you put a little acting thing there. You go to your cards, you check, make sure that you look at your 2 red aces,
Right.
and make sure that they were actually a diamond in there or
Right.
not. You pretend like you're looking at your pair to see if there was a diamond there. Then maybe you think about it for a second. You look at the pot. You go, okay, 450. You get that way. You give Mike enough rope to hang himself. You're also not pricing him in there.
Yeah, that's right. I like this one.
Button moves over here to seat 4 to Kenny Wynn. I also talked with Kenny about that hand with pocket jacks against Mike. He said he did not have the best hand. I had a long discussion with him this afternoon. That hand against Mike, I think it was on Wednesday. Because he said exactly how we said, Mike checked the river. So he knew he had a hand when he checked the river.
I'm betting.
And
Well, that's really telling. If Mike is going to check the river, that means he has something that probably he either thinks he's not going to bother bluffing you, which is not very rare for Mike,
especially if he's missed everything.
right?
Yeah.
Or he has something that he thinks he can hold up on.
Queen Jack 10 here. Well, Mike, he's got a good hand here. He's got Queen 9. Top pair in a straight draw. He's going to bet 80. Trish checked Ace 10 there on that flop.
Say again? You got a 9 or a king?
Well, you're going to bet Ace 10 on that flop. You like Ace 10?
I'm open-ended too.
No, I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
saying she checked Ace 10.
Yeah. God, what an ugly flop for Ace 10 of spades.
Man, Trish is not going to get involved.
I had the other end.
Mike definitely had the best of it there. So it's going to be fun. A lot of people that call out say, will you guys change it up, ever do tournaments? We do them very occasionally. On Sunday, we will do one again.
Yeah. No,
I
it'll be
don't
very
know
close.
how long it will take, but we're going to do it to the entirety.
Well, the funny thing is, normally it wouldn't take very long because there's not going to be that much money at stake. But you've got to realize that the winner of Sunday's final table, ladies event,
Gets to go on the
gets to
travel
play in the
channel.
World Poker Tour
Yep.
Invitational and be on the Travel Channel.
Yep.
I mean, that's great.
And you remember how many people that made famous in the first year, at least.
Oh, it's great though. It's just so cool to say, hey, not only did I win a ladies tournament, Legends, and I won like $5,000, but I'm going to be on the Travel Channel World Poker Tour. How cool is that?
Now, Mike raised it to 100. Barry and Allen called. Ace 8 deuce here with a couple clubs.
Apparently, my cough button is not working.
Wow, that's very interesting.
Yeah, very odd.
I'll have a.
Huh, now it's working. Now look at this. Barry's going to come out and bet here with an 8. He bets 250, and he has the best hand here. Mike has totally missed this flop. And I think what Mike is thinking here, Dave, is if Barry had an ace, wouldn't he check raise me? And I think obviously Mike is calling here to set a play up. Wouldn't Barry check raise with an ace instead of lead out? The turn's a deuce.
Well, now if you're Barry, remember, you really can't beat somebody who has an 8. You can't beat the ace, and you can't beat a deuce. You can only beat a flush draw, right? All you can beat right now is a flush draw. Now, if somebody had an 8, also, it would probably be a chop pot, obviously, because both players have 8s and deuces with an ace kicker.
And Barry's going to come out and bet again. He bet 700. A lot of people would shut down in that spot.
Well, that's part of Barry's game that I love, though, his aggressive nature. You know, he fires once. Okay, I'm going to keep firing, see what happens here, and he's going to win this.
I don't like the deuce.
Well, Mike says he doesn't like the deuce. Yeah, Mike says he mucked ace 10 in his dreams.
What's the other one?
Butt moves over here to Barry Woods. Well, the other thing I was going to say about the ladies' event, Dave, is that if you look at the past champions, say somebody wins this tournament that's really not a name, who's a lady, halfway even attractive, or not even attractive, but let's say she's young, under 40, and she goes on and wins the ladies' invitational. She now becomes a professional poker player, all her expenses, and probably she'll have a couple of years' worth of tournament buy-ins paid for. She'll
Really?
get
You
picked
think
up
so?
by- Absolutely.
I don't know.
If she wins the WP, how about Isabel Mercier?
That's what I'm saying. You've got to look the part, man. You got to look the part. I'm sorry. My grandma comes rolling in. And wins the ladies' event and wins the World Poker Tour Invitational. She ain't gonna get nothing but like some free dentures.
Now imagine what you asking for.
They go, hey, nice going there, Mama Tuckman. A big slap on the ass.
I'm saying that maybe not your grandma, but maybe an average-looking woman or better. How about that?
I hate to sound like a chauvinist pig, but I'm just being realistic here. I think the woman's got to be good looking. I think you've got to be if you're a good looking woman and you win the ladies event and then you win the World Poker Tour Invitational, yes, no doubt about it, not even a question.
Now Barry raised it with Queen Jack on the button. Franco's going to bet 120 here, and Barry calls with a Broadway gut shot. And maybe it was Franco that was the pre-flop raiser because he continued on. Turns a 10 and Barry hits it. Wow, look at that, the offsuit 10, his gin card.
Yeah, but Franco's got nothing.
And Barry's going to come
It's
out
one of
with
those
that.
times where great, you got there. Congratulations.
First hand I played, I went to
Email here from Alex. It says, Tuck, are you really a Chelsea fan? I mean, really, or are you just being a front runner? Surely you should support Fulham or West Ham United.
Are you kidding me?
and that's-
Fulham or West Ham?
And that's the question I've always asked him too. Is,
That's so
and
gay.
he always said, well, my father-in-law took me to the games before Chelsea was really big, before they got big. A lot of people ask him, are you just like a Chelsea fan, like everyone's like a fan of, say, whatever number one team country that you don't live
In actuality, I became a Chelsea fan the first time I went to a game. When I first became a fan, their owner was not Abramovich yet. They did not spend that much money, and they were actually third in the Premiership. They were really behind. Arsenal was the dynasty at the time when I became a Chelsea fan. Man U was second, and Chelsea was in third. Really fighting with Everton, actually third, fourth, fifth. And that's really when I became a Chelsea fan.
Mike here has straddled, and he checked the straddle.
But I got to tell you, if I'm going to switch allegiance, I might switch to like Arsenal, to Fulham or West Ham. Are you kidding?
So, did they name you Surrender? Because you said I'm going to.
It was actually kind of funny,
Did you hear what Mike just said there? He said, did they name you Surrender because you're just going to surrender and not play a hand?
it's kind of funny. Emma, the producer from the Poker Channel, is actually flying back to England tonight. You know why she's flying back tonight? It's because she's a diehard Arsenal fan, and she has season tickets. And the home opener is tomorrow in a new stadium, brand new stadium. She has season tickets, and she can't wait to go tomorrow at 3 o'clock in England.
I'm going to move his lips. George, you ever played poker with a mute? We're not professional. We just sit there and have fun.
Button moves over here to seat 8.
Guys just been talking.
That's to Mo. Now, I actually went, like I've
I mean, look at
always
this. Everybody said the same thing here. I walk into a casino and I'm wearing a jacket and a tie, and people are like, "Tuck, who died? You have a job interview, Dave? You have to go to court?" I wear a jacket probably once every 2 weeks. I wear a jacket to work.
I don't know. I'm not.
I don't
I'm
usually
not paying attention.
I don't usually wear a tie, but I just felt like kind of putting on a special tie today.
I thought maybe you had an interview with somebody.
No, I just honestly, you know what? I felt like I was like Friday night. A lot of big names are in the house. You know, we had Tim Fan in here tonight. We've got Surinder. I was like, you know what? Let me just dress up a little bit, look the part. I don't want to look like a schlep like you.
Three-way action here. Jack 9-7 here on the flop, and it got checked around. Allen's got ace-9. He didn't bet in position there, Dave, with ace-9. The turns is 7.
8 or a deuce, I was going to raise you on the turn no matter what happened, and a fucking deuce came.
I was thinking about checking and then check raising the end.
And now Allen's going to bet. Fairly confident that he has the best hand.
I like that out.
And he's going to take it down.
It's the new Barry.
Truth be told, I should have raised you there.
I said that I would, watch Chelsea when they were in the Champions League back in 2000.
Yeah. Well, that's actually if you want to date back to my first time I was a fan. The first time I went to England was
Around the courtyard, man.
Christmas time 2000. Okay? Yeah, that's exactly when I went to England. Christmas time 2000, which is exactly when I went to my first Chelsea game. And that is when I really became a fan of any kind of a European football. And just obviously it's my first game, so I became a fan of Chelsea.
Did you sing?
I did not sing. I didn't know the song. But I drank.
Yeah.
I drank heavily, and it was cold as all hell. I had a great time, I got to tell you. It was if you've never been to a premiership, a European football match like that, unbelievable. Unlike anything you'll ever see in the States.
Barry Woods here has got pocket aces.
A couple of black aces there.
And Allen's going to call here. We're going the speed limit here with pocket 5s.
Just call it. Literally, it doesn't matter what he has.
And Mike is going to call here with queen 7 of hearts and the small blind.
2 kings, and you're just calling. Right?
I don't know. I haven't
See if Franco comes in here with 8-10 offsuit out of position.
Nah, you know what? Even though those players involved, he doesn't want to play out of position with that kind of hand. Franco's a pretty solid player.
Well, here we go. Barry with aces to the flop. Well, there's a queen in the door. Wow, and Barry's got top set.
Yeah, unfortunately, though. How about ace-queen 7?
Now, Barry gave us a lot of shit because we talked about how Allen slow-played his hand last night. Is this a hand that you would ever not bet with top set here on this board?
I'm sorry. If you don't bet this, you're a friggin' donkey.
Overbet
Barry bets.
overtime.
Barry's going to overbet this
I
spot.
surrender, man. My God. Good? Wow.
And Barry shows the aces.
See, that's the mistake that Barry made, though. Overbet it, that's fine. I like the bet. I like all that.
Yeah.
You've got to realize how many cards can come off and kill your action. If a 10, a king, a diamond come off, you've got to worry about your hands.
If you get called, you're beat.
But what I don't like is I don't like showing the hand. I don't want to give any information about a way I might play a hand, especially to some good players. Now, you got to realize at this table right now, you've actually got some really good players. And between Trish, Mike, Franco, Kenny, Surinder, and Mo, you've really got some exceptional poker players at this table. And
This is good news.
I got to tell you, I don't want to give them any information on how I play.
Kenny Wynn's got pocket queens here in the big blind.
I got to tell you, if Corey's not going to play any poker, though, can we pick his ass up?
Yeah, he hasn't been here at the table now for 20 minutes. What's going on over there?
Pretty much a given.
Thought we instituted that rule
Yeah,
that you
as
can't
far
be
as
away
I'm
from the
concerned,
table in 5 minutes.
He's not that interesting a player to watch. Donna, you around? Hey, get his ass up.
And Kenny's going to raise it up here with queens.
Got some good influence going on.
Kenny, you're out of position. What are you doing?
Going to make it 140 to go. Now, Surrender had limped in with 9-10 of spades. I don't know if you can make this call, Dave, with 3 people to act behind you, and he's going to fold it. Now, I don't know. Surrender obviously probably not familiar with these players.
Well, that's the one thing you have to understand also. A lot of people are sitting here going, come on, I want to see Surinder do something. Give the guy 45 minutes to learn the table a little bit. Remember, all of these guys at the table are all familiar with each other. Everybody here knows how each person plays. Surinder knows nothing about any of them, unless he watches live at the bike, of course. Once again, we are live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hanson. You're watching No Limit Hold'em. This is the first half hour.
And Barry Woods is going to call here with 8-10 of diamonds. And Mike is in there with ace-deuce offsuit.
Okay, is this officially your first hand?
So here we go. Now, you would say that Mike will get away from an ace flop if it comes out here. Well, there's an ace.
Well, he doesn't have to get away from
right,
here.
Right.
Right now, he's got the goods. He's got the nuts.
Ace 8-6 here with a couple spades.
Kenny's got to hate that flop.
5,000 white.
Mike's going to play 5,000 behind. Looked like Kenny checked it here
Yeah, he did. I think Barry might put a little bet in here, though.
with middle pair.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, he's
there
going to
it is.
bet.
Little, let me see where I am bet.
Well, we know that Mike isn't going anywhere.
No,
Barry
Mike's going to
bets.
call, and that's going to be an easy laydown for Kenny here.
Now, I guess what you said is if Kenny were to lead out, Mike would call once and see what happened on the turn. If he let again, he would fold.
Yeah, I think so. Well, we'll see what happens. You never know. He might just he relies on his reading. I've seen him make laydowns. I've seen him lay down ace rack.
Although he did
Numerous
call
times.
ace deuce against Allen's top set of aces a few shows ago.
It happens. Hey, I'm not saying the guy's a perfect player.
Wow, and the turn's another ace, and this is going to get Barry more involved now. And now Kenny probably thinks he has the best hand. And Barry's going to bet out again.
700.
You bet 700.
I got to tell you,
How
is there
about
really
Mike?
any value to raising here?
I don't know. If Mike raises, Barry might not believe him.
No, he might not. But I mean, think about it though. Is if Barry comes over the top though, can you beat him?
The river is a...
Remember, I mean, what if Barry had ace? I mean,
Right.
God, ace 9, ace 10, anything.
And it looks like Barry has checked here. It's a $2,000 pot. And Mike is going to bet here. He's going to bet 1,000. He is going to bet 1,000.
And I think Barry's probably going to call this. I really do. I mean,
Really?
there's just too many. Yeah, I think you got backdoor. You got spades there. You got, let's say, what is it? If Mike had say
Straight
7-9,
draw, right.
7-5,
Yeah.
there's straight draws out there, flush draws out there. Yeah, and
Barry's going to call.
Barry's just not one to lay this down. And I got to tell you, I don't know if I lay it down either.
There's way too many draws that Mike might try to bluff at.
Well, it's
there.
one of those times where you go, how big was the pot?
I mean, the pot at that point was
3,000?
about 2,000. Mike bet about 1,100. What, about 1,100 there?
So the pot's 3,100 there.
Yeah.
So 3,100. Yeah, you're getting almost 3 to 1 on your money. You're getting almost 3 to 1 on your money. Can Mike be bluffing 1 out of 4 times?
Right.
Probably. You know, I can't blame Barry for making that call at all.
No, I think I make that call as well.
Yeah. And when I make a point about, I think Mike is good enough to get away from weak ace. Does it mean he gets away from it every single time? No, of course not. We all make mistakes. Now, Mike's biggest weakness is he has a propensity to tilt. He will steam, and when he's steaming, he makes really bad decisions, which he was doing that night.
Barry coming back.
And I'm still maintaining that Corey should be picked up.
From seat 9.
Yes.
220.
And Trish is going to raise it up here to 220. With ace king.
Just a big ace deuce.
Now, obviously, Mo's not going to get involved here with king jack out of position to Trish.
No, I don't think so. Not the Trish. He's paying attention to who's
Now,
playing
is
here.
Barry going to get involved out of position to Trish with 9-10 of hearts? Nope, he is not either.
Make my money in my fucking list.
300.
And that's it. And Trish is going to take it down there. Obviously, Trish is tight, solid image. Not many people are going to get involved with her. Button's going to move here to seat number 5 or seat number 4 here. Kenny win.
I can't settle best during. I can't do it after the show. Sorry.
You can say what he had.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Wake up.
I'll tell you afterwards. I know the hands. I'll tell you afterwards.
Barry, there's $20 if you're lying. You have to
There's
pay
Dave
$200 back.
Tuckman. Again, the button's moved over here to seat number 4. Kenny win.
I know, he's not here. You don't have to tell him that. I didn't see him yet.
Again, we were playing 10-20 no limit, round chips or $10 chips, whites or hundreds. We stream live cash games every Monday through Friday, 7 to 10 Pacific time. And if you're watching this now, you're an archive subscriber, we thank you. We'll be doing a lot of promotions in the next couple weeks, probably another pick the winner contest coming up, giving out these nice bobbleheads.
10 minutes maximum.
Kenny Wynn's got King 10 here on the
I
button,
said we get him up.
and he's going to raise it up.
70.
He's going to make it 70. And no one's going to get involved with Kenny Wynn. Takes it down.
And it's officially 2 hands now. 30 minutes.
And we haven't really seen Surrender Sunar there in seat 5 play any hands. Like I said, from what I've seen of him and what his reputation is, I'm really not that surprised.
Ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor, during the show,
Let's listen to Dave.
Try to, we know you get up, have a good time, it's a cash game, do whatever you have to do. But try to keep, when you get up, you try to tell Alan, because Alan's the biggest pain in the ass here. Try to keep your excursions to like 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Small blood.
Okay. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Franco's got pocket aces over here. And Mike is going to raise it up here with 5-3 off suit.
Listen, I went
Let's see what Franco's going to do.
5 minutes, but then I got caught up in this conversation with my friend Ramsey. And he was
And Franco's just going to call.
And I was listening,
I'm back.
He's just going to call. Well said out there, Dave. Well said. So Franco just a smooth called here with aces, and he has position on Mike. Here we go to the flop. Wow, and Mike has got a pair and a straight draw, and Franco's got top set. And I don't think Mike is going anywhere here. Mike's going to bet out here. Not a bad flop for 5-3. Especially when the other guy hasn't re-raised. You don't put him on this big of a hand.
Now, obviously, Franco thinking of what to do here. Do I raise it right away? Do I slow play it? Do I let him bet into me?
He calls.
And he's just going to call here. This guy's in the strength of his hand.
Here we go
How
to
about
the
a 5?
turn. Turns a jack. Yeah, 5 will get killed. Mike will get killed. And Mike checks here.
And I don't think you can check here behind. I really don't.
2 diamonds out there, a 3 or a 4 would kill your hand. Yeah, he's going to bet, looks like maybe a little bit here. Pot's about 900, I want to say. And he's going to bet 500. Not a bad bet here at all.
Not at all. No, I like it. And that's one of the reasons why you always want position on Mike. Remember, even Mike out of position, it's hard for him to continue.
And he calls.
He's going to call here. And if he catches a 5 or a 3, he's in trouble.
The river's a 6. Mike checks. And let's see Franco put in maybe a nice $800 to $1,200 value bet
Oh, why
here.
not?
Yeah. Pot's $1,900. I don't think there's any way that Mike can call here.
Well, Mike also starts thinking things through, like, why is this guy betting the river?
Right.
Why is he betting? Part of his psyche, he's thinking about it. Why would he bet? Would he bet, like, ace-queen here? Would he bet ace-10 here? A lot of players wouldn't.
Well, I think
I got to tell you, I probably would.
Yeah,
but
I would too, and you would definitely bet ace-king or ace-jack, obviously.
Oh, ace-jack's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Would you bet ace-10?
Yeah.
Would you bet ace-9?
And how much is the bet here on the river? It's a $900 bet on the river.
Would
here.
you bet ace-9? Would you bet any ace?
So
And
Mike is getting 3 to 1 here.
that might be a part of Mike's thinking here. Why is he betting here? Did he miss his diamond draw? Does he have? First of all, he has to bet, which means either A, he's got a monster, or B, he's bluffing. I don't think he has a set of aces here. Could he have a set of deuces? Obviously, all Mike has is a bluff catcher, but that's, it's got to go through his head.
Again, he's getting over 3 to 1, $2,800 pot, 900.
And this is part of the
call.
thinking that when you start playing high-stakes cash games, you've got to realize that this is part of the thing that has to go through your head. And people at home are probably going, but Mike's only got a pair of 5s. It doesn't make a difference here. Franco's either got it or he's got nothing. And if he has nothing, a pair of 5s is just as good as ace-high, or in this case, king-high. I've seen great players make a call here with king-queen.
Oh, he's really thinking about this one.
Yeah. Well, could Franco have missed diamonds here?
Would Franco have bet the turn with the diamond draw and not taking the card?
Exactly. If Franco had, it's either king, queen, of diamonds, he goes.
That's definitely a hand that you would bet the turn. It's big enough, and Mike is going to make the call, and Franco's going to turn over a set of aces.
Yeah. Well, that's close read there. But the call is not as off-putting as you think, because if you start going, wait a second, if he had an ace, would he just call me in the flop, or would he raise me? Who knows? Yes. Apparently Alan is on an excursion, yes.
Oh, and so back to Corey with the shirt, because I was talking to him. He said,
oh, I'm curious,
it's
yeah.
the 3rd day in a row that he's worn it. He says he smells the shirt. He takes a shower in the morning, smells it before he comes on the show, and it smelled fine to him. And he says also if he wins today, he will wear the shirt again tomorrow.
Nice job.
But 4 or 5 days is the limit.
On a shirt?
This is the 3rd day in a row.
Are you kidding me?
That's what he said. That's what he said to me.
Really?
He was
Are you
sitting
kidding
next
me?
to me. He didn't
I'm
smell.
all for if you get a pair of jeans. I have no problem wearing a pair of jeans a couple times before you wash it.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, I wear a shirt one day.
150.
It goes in the wash.
Yeah,
That's pretty much it. The shirt I'm wearing right now, this blue one,
100.
I'll wear it tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
I will then put it in my dirty laundry. See?
Absolutely.
You won't see me wear this again until I wash it. Now the jacket, I won't wash right away, and these pants, I might not wash right away.
I will routinely.
But my underwear, these, I will wash.
Cut away. Good Lord. We don't want to see it, please. I'll wear these
You're just
jeans.
intimidated,
I'll
man.
wear these jeans a couple times, like in a week, 3 or 4.
Have you heard about how well endowed Jewish men are? You don't know, man.
I've heard.
You don't know.
Not necessarily well endowed. Yeah, I've never bothered to listen either. Butt moves over here to Mo. And Mike is going to straddle once again. Corey's got pocket 8s here in the small blind. Allen is posted behind here. He's got King Jack of Diamonds. Oh, Barry's got King Jack of Diamonds. He calls. Allen calls.
I didn't sound like a jerk out there when I said keep your extortions to less than like half hour.
No, just when you said, oh, Allen's the biggest pain in the ass.
5 players.
Yeah,
No, he doesn't like.
and Mike checks. 5 deuce 3 here with a couple hearts. And here we go.
150.
And Trish is going to come out and bet here with hearts and overcards. Going to bet 150.
I don't like it just because of my job. I'm the host. Then I sit down.
It's over to Allen. He's got a wheel draw with backdoor clubs. And Corey's got the overpair. Is Corey going to make the check call? He does. He checks the flop, and Trish bets. Now, let's see if Trish is going to take a card.
Ooh,
wow, Corey's made a set of 8s.
Still doesn't make a difference though, because Trish.
And look at this. It goes check, check.
Unbelievable.
Here we go to the river. Oh, the river's a king. Trish is totally missed here.
Yeah, but the problem now is, see, now Corey's going to bet. He thinks he played it all sneaky.
Yep.
And Trish has missed the draw, so she doesn't care.
Right.
Thank you. Okay, I'll pass.
Somebody give him the seat.
I mean, I can tell you, look at some of these guys, like Corey. Obviously, he plays tight. You could say he plays solid. But these guys, I don't necessarily have a lot of respect. They don't bet their draws. They almost play it too cagey. Now, I know you sometimes say, if you play it so tight, they're trappers. They have to do that because if they bet, no one will ever give them any action.
Well, of course. You think about it. Every single time Allen or Corey bets, you fold, right? Well, the only way for them to get action is if they slow play it and somehow get you to try to bluff them.
Yeah. Button here moves. to C9.
Apparently, once in a while it'll work, but in the long run, obviously, I don't see how. I mean, I personally don't see how anybody ever gives action to a player like that. But hey,
Corey missed your draw.
Corey seems like a somewhat successful player.
And Mike here is in the big blind. He's going to limp. And Surrender's going to raise it up here. He's going to make it 60 to go with pocket 10s. Allen's going to call with a weak ace.
Well, Surrender hasn't played many hands, but you talk about it. You don't have to play very many hands in poker, especially in no-limit hold'em cash games, to be a winner. I think Surrender will prove that to us tonight.
Kind of a smallish raise, though, Dave, in a cash game. Again, kind of 3 times the big blind. We need to see Mike's cards. He's got King 3 offsuit. Queen 9-5 here on the flop. Well, Surrender's good.
Will he bet this? Now, remember, 7s he shut down last time, but this time he's going to bet.
Yeah, just 1 overcard.
Yeah, he bets it, he takes it down.
There you go. And that's all he really needs to do to have a profitable night.
Well, no, yeah, he wins a couple of pots here like that. He wins a couple of pots there like that. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Easy enough. Got a special treat, right?
Yeah, we got Brent Carter coming into the booth here. Now, if anyone's not familiar with Brent Carter, one of the best Omaha high-low players in the world. I think he has a World Series bracelet in Omaha high-low, although he's not wearing it now. And we'll get him in here in a second. I've actually played with Brent a number of times in mid-level Omaha cash games. Very solid player. Let's do the first chip count of the night here. So here we go with the first chip count of the night. And here we go. We got $30,000 on the table. As you can see, Mike's got $8,500 leading the table. Mo with $4,300. Let's take a look at the differences. Surrender there only with $2,000.
5 players.
And Mo is up $2,300 when he won that hand with 9-10. Franco here with $2,100 up against Mike, and Mike is the big loser so far. So here we go. And welcome Brent Carter here to the booth. And Surrender Sunar again has a good hand here. I got to point it out. He's got pocket jacks. And look at this. Allen's got 8-9, and so does Corey. Wow, 2 people have trips here. Surrender leads out with jacks. Allen raises with 8-9, and it's over to Corey here. We'll get the cards up in a second. There you go. So Surrender was the pre-flop raiser. He's bet. Allen has raised, and let's see what Corey's going to do. He is just going to call. And it's over to surrender. And what do you do here with jacks?
You know, I got to tell you, with Allen raising and Corey calling, I think it's an easy laydown. I'm not sure Surrender is quite as familiar with these players as we are.
We definitely know it would be an easy laydown, but again, this might be Surrender's first day here.
Yeah, I mean, Allen just doesn't raise. Rarely does Allen raise in the come, so you pretty much know he does not have a flush draw here. You know, and if Corey is smooth calling it, you know, Corey's pretty transparent. You pretty much know he's got a 9 here.
Oh, absolutely. Corey's not going to call a raise by Allen with a dry flush draw on a paired board. No way.
Once again, I want to welcome you to KZZ Smooth Jack.
Wow, and Surrender calls. So here we go to the turn. The turn's a 5. Changes nothing. As you can see, Surrender here has got a 5% chance to win. The other two are going to chop it up.
Hey, the bigger question now is with 8-9, if you know, obviously, Corey's got a 9, if you're Allen, you're like, uh-oh. How much do you like your kicker here? I mean, you got to realize, what is the likely card to be with a 9?
And it gets checked around here, and the river is a 4. It doesn't change anything. Both players have top full houses.
Yeah, well, the only thing it does make you, if I have 8-9 now, I feel a lot better about my hand, because you got to realize, if Corey called my raise, I know he's got a 9. Well, he could have 10-9, he could have Jack-9, he could have Ace-9. Maybe he could have 9-7. But that's the only hand I can beat is 9-7. I got to tell you, I'm very thankful the 4 came off.
Allen's going to bet 800 here, and if Corey calls, I think it's a very easy laydown for Surrender.
I think it's an easy laydown regardless.
Cannot make this overcall. Corey is going to call. $900 bet here by Allen, and Surrender's out of there.
Yeah, they're going to chop this up.
They're going to chop it up. And great timing as we had Brent Carter come into the booth here right in the middle of that hand. How you doing, Mr. Carter? I remember you. I don't know if you remember me, but I played a lot of Omaha with you last year at Commerce. 30-60, 1/3 kill, 40-80. And then we played some at the World Series this year as well. You were ranked one of the top Omaha high-low players, or the top in a couple of the years. How many World Series bracelets do you have?
I have 2, but
2.
Not in Omaha either. Better No Limit Hold'em.
Oh, really?
And Limit Omaha.
And Limit Omaha High.
Limit Omaha High.
Which is a game they don't do anymore,
it's
right?
It's a game they don't do anymore. But again, it's the 4-card game. It's not not that much different high-low or high by itself. I mean, different strategies a little bit, but the concept of how many outs you have and how live you are is much different in Omaha than Hold'em.
Yeah. Now, I actually played in all the Omaha events. You cashed in 2 of them, is that right? You cashed in the 5,000.
Yeah,
right?
14th or 15th or 16th, somewhere like that. And 3rd in the 3,000.
Now, I've never seen
Is that the one that Jeffrey Madsen won?
No, he didn't. Scott Clemens.
Scott Clemens, right, okay, I got it.
Now, I've never seen you play in cash games other than Omaha High-Low. Fill me in. Do you ever dabble in No Limit Hold'em cash games?
Seldom. The last couple of years, I'm a sports bettor also. So I play poker part-time now. Back in the 90s, I was a full-time poker player. But now that...
okay, now you piqued my interest here. Okay, so back in the 90s, you're full-time poker, part-time sports.
Right.
Now you're part-time poker, full-time sports. What got you into the sports?
I
mean, what are the games suddenly became beatable?
No, they were always beatable, but it became rather than I lived in Vegas mostly, and rather than have to run from casino to casino to casino to get a bet, now point and click at your desk.
Are you worried at all about the money being seized and so forth? Being an American living here, playing obviously, gambling, on somewhat, I guess, quote unquote illegal offshore betting accounts.
Well, I haven't been until I got on this show, maybe.
Look at this. Two players with the same hand. We're going to be bobbing in and out all the time. Mo bet with Queen Jack. Mike raised with the same hand. Bluff against bluff. And Mike is going to take it down there. The super lag here on this table. Now, you've told me some interesting stories about your sports betting. Because I remember you showed me a couple years back an interesting little piece of paper that you have in your wallet. Tell us that story. Back in, 1986?
85. There was it wasn't a casino. It was a freestanding building, Gary Austin's Race and Sports Book. And there were several of those kind of places, race and sports books around Vegas at the time, and they've been outlawed since. You have to be part of a casino to have a sports book now. But I went in and $500 was my normal bet on totals in the NBA, so I was betting $500 when I go in or shop the numbers someplace else. So this is a Friday night, like it's Friday night here, and I marched in and said, I had 3 games I wanted to play. I said, okay, $500 apiece. And the teller says, wow, you can bet more. This was a surprise because the limits were pretty much settled at those times. So I said, well, how much? And he goes in the back room because I says, you can bet all you want. I said, wow.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So I said, well, okay, I bet 1,000 a game.
I just give you that.
And it turns out I won 2 out of the 3 games, so it's a small profit when you're betting 1,100 to win 1,000. So
right, obviously.
I'm betting 3,300, so I'm going to win 900 with 2 winners and losers. I go back the next morning, just sign on the door, closed due to robbery. Well, as we find out and things developed, Gary Austin had decided he was going broke and out of business, so he just took all the bets he could take that day. Everybody
you can bet as much as you want,
right? Because you can't win. and at least I didn't bet 2,000 a game.
Wow, that is crazy.
And we had hearings at the Gaming Commission. At the time, the Gaming Commission in Nevada they never stand behind the player. If you're a management, any excuse is good enough. He said, well, I had operating costs. I had to take money out of the players' accounts. I had to do things. I was running behind. I had help. I had bills. And the Gaming Commission went, okay, no penalty. If you can get this straightened up, they didn't fine him, and they didn't actually, as far as I know, take his license away, but they wouldn't renew it until he straightened things up. So he's never been back.
Wow. I mean, I got to tell you, that might be, maybe something, as you see Mike Flop's Trip Jack series, the pre-flop raiser with Jack 6. Is Alan going to get involved here with 8-5?
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the cash games here at the bike, but they're pretty crazy and wild.
I've heard the stories that since you guys have put this on TV, people play anything to get their hands on TV.
It's unreal.
Look at this. Alan check raised, Dave, with the 8. He didn't just call, he check raised. This is the new Alan, and Mike has got the goods here with 3 jacks.
I have a feeling the new Alan's going to go broke.
The turn's a queen. Yeah, but how much more heat can he take? It's another overcard. He's going to bet 200. Now,
200 into what, a $600 pot?
Oh, it's more like $800 pot. And Mike is just going to call, it looks like. Well, Alan doesn't have that much left. Here we go.
Well,
River's a 9 now. Wow.
If you're Mike here, you got to be worried that Alan's got this.
How about a straight now? How about backing into Jack 10 or a straight? I guess he had him beat anyways. And Alan bets 400, and now Mike just calls. And a clear-cut example of how Mike kind of slow-played himself into where he couldn't get any more money in on the river. Not that Alan would have called.
No, I don't think Mike slow-played that. I got to be honest with you. I think you're misreading that, Bart. When Alan raises the flop, you have Jack 6. How much heat are you going to put on this guy?
So you think that he was just being conservative in the fact he was
like
his
of course
kicker.
he was. His kicker's terrible. Think about it. If Alan's in there, he's probably got a kicker better than my 6, right? He's not in there with Jack 5 or Jack 4 or Jack 3. If he's got Jack 9, Jack 10, Queen Jack, or King Jack, I'm dead. How much money do I really want to put in there with trips with the 6 kicker?
Nobody's afraid of it. He flopped 8s full of jacks or
bottoms
something
full.
Like that, right? Yeah.
Well, Alan's probably not going to play that hard.
Yeah.
He'll play it more cagey.
Look, you know your players, so you've been doing this production for
These guys
months.
we know like the back of our hand.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
for almost 2 years now.
So what's your game of choice now? Do you stick to the NBA or do you like NFL?
I like the NFL quite a bit.
Is the NFL beatable?
Of course.
Really?
Well, that's like saying is poker beatable.
Right.
If you take a survey on the street, people go, "Oh, don't go in there. You can't win."
Right.
And sure, if you have 1,000 customers here in a night, maybe only 80 of them are winners.
I mean, is the 10% vig though? And sometimes when you do those proposition bets, it's even 15 or 20%. Is that too much to overcome though? In some cases,
10% doesn't exist anymore. It's 5 or 4 or 6 in the
Is
NFL.
it? Okay.
And that doesn't count shopping against one place having a game at 8 and another place having it 8.5.
Right. No, obviously, yeah.
So between the easy shopping and the relatively low juice, it used to be they said you had to pick close to 54% winners to break even, and now it's just barely over. It's not even 51. It's 51% to break even.
Really, 51% to break even. So if you're making 54, 55%, you're making a nice living.
A reasonable profit. You have to run a lot of money through at that rate. People don't realize how often, if you're betting 1,000 each way, how many times. Well, let's say you made 100 bets at 1,000 apiece. Now you're taking 110,000.
Right, I guess you mean.
And if you're winning 54.
If you win 54 and you lose 46, you're not going to make that much money, obviously.
Yeah, it's not as much as people think.
But if you start doing 1,000 bets or 10,000 bets,
Yes.
and you start winning 5,700
Well-
and losing 43, then it's
Well, you're moving the percentages up, and second,
Right.
Sometimes you can't bet more depending on if you've got a great number, you can't get it again. And when you tend to make more and more bets, similar as poker, if you play in more and more hands, you're not always playing premium hands anymore. So in sports, there's the quality bets that come up, 3 or 4 bets a week. You go, I really love these bets. And then 20, 30 bets a week, you go, well, I like this, but it's not.
It's not your gold star.
It's not the supreme confidence.
Right. Now, is the juice now lower because of the availability of online sites where maybe their overhead is smaller, kind of comparison to, say, how the rake is smaller on an online site, and just the competitive nature of so many options out there?
It's. I would attribute it mostly to the Walmart attitude. They want to give you take the most bets and give you the best break and do the most volume.
Yeah.
In other words,
Right.
they'd rather
No frills.
They'd rather handle $1 million on a game and have 3 cents either way than handle a place that would handle 20,000 and have 15 cents either way.
Right, obviously.
It's funny, I dabbled in sports betting a little bit in college and in high school, and I didn't bet on games. All I did was I looked for, there was this guy at school who was kind of a math major who had a system. He looked for magic numbers where you could get, say, a guy who said that the favorite on a game was -7.5, and the underdog was +7.5, and the favorite was -6.5, and you bet both sides, and then if it ends up 7, you win both sides. Right?
That has existed, but that's in the dream world now. In today's internet, instant numbers, and so many people play in the game, it can't get across that number. If the game is 6.5, and some people bet it to 7, nobody's betting it to 7.5 before all the 6.5s are gone. So you'd have to do that on a speculation thing, like, okay, I know everybody's betting this same team. Let me bet the 6.5 and have it go to 7.5, and then bet it back the other way.
Right. I mean, it's also one of those things where, I mean, to move the number off 7, 3, those are those magical numbers.
Right.
I mean, you can go from 5 to 5.5 pretty easy. You can go from 4 to 4.5 pretty easy, but 7 to 7.5 is pretty a big jump.
Yeah, 4 to 6 is pretty easy. Now with 2-point conversions, we do get games that land on 5 more than we used to before the 2-point conversion became popular. And I've even lost track of time. It's 12 years ago or 15 years ago, whenever it was. Before that, 5 was really an impossible number. So you could go from 4 to 6. Wasn't as much a move as from 3 to 3.5.
That's interesting.
Right.
Now, Bart is a really an excellent Omaha 8 or better player.
I'm itching to get in this guy.
I know. And I'm gonna before I let you get inside Mr. Carter's head here, I'm gonna ask him a couple of questions here. Would you say, now let me ask you, NFL, who's your team this year?
I have no favorite teams. I have no pick. I
mean, do you ever go for like the over/under wins?
Well, the first year they came out in Vegas, I wound up tying up my entire bankroll at that time, which I'm going to say is 1988, 89. My bankroll wasn't as nice as it is now. I had about $65,000, $70,000, and they just started them new, and they moved them a half a point every time they got a full bet. So I was going from Binion's Horseshoe over to the Golden Nugget, and they kept moving them a half a point. So I had some great numbers, but I had to wait.
It's
3 months.
It's almost like you're giving the casino an interest-free loan for the next 4 months.
Well, no, it wasn't interest-free because I had much the best of it. I think I got back about 80 for my money, and I really, the way the numbers came down, my total risk was something like only $300 or something.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
I mean, because I had games both ways.
We got something big happening on the table here. Mike has check raced with an open and straight draw, and Mo's got Jack 10 of spades. Mo bet the flop. Mike made it 420, and Mo is just going to smooth call here. So this pot is quickly $1,000.
So how about like the 7 of spades were to come off? What's going to happen?
Yeah. And the turn is an offsuit 7, and Mike hits his gin card. Wow. And he's going to bet 600 here, and let's see, and Mo's going to call. And this pot is quickly $2,500. Mo's going to need to hit a spade here. And the river is a queen, and Mike has it.
Mike has it on both sides.
And he's going to bet out again. Now, can Mo make this call? Mike is going to bet $1,200 into a $2,500 pot. It's a $3,700 pot, $1,200 to call. Again, we talk about, could Mike be bluffing here more than, say, 1 out of 4 times? Actually, he's getting 3 to 1.
Well, you got to start thinking. The problem is, though, was Mike bluffing with Jack Queen?
Or
was
1
he
out of 3
open-ended?
times.
If Mike had Jack 8, he got there. If Mike had Jack Queen, well, he beat you now because he's got the Queen. And if he has spades, it's just unlikely because you have spades also. This is one of those times where you might want to rethink it through and go, is there anything I can beat if I have Jack 10 in this case? Just in my opinion, obviously a lot easier for us. We can see the cards, but you got to start thinking of what were the possible hands that Mike could have here.
I mean, the only thing you could beat here with a 10 would be 8-10, right? You lose to 10-9. You lose to 10-7. Obviously,
That's
Queen
the whole
10,
point,
King
exactly.
10, Ace 10.
I mean, you can beat. I mean, I'm trying to think of a hand you can beat. I mean, you can beat like Ace 9 with the Ace of Spades.
Ace Jack's the only hand he can beat, right?
And Mo makes the call, but
Yeah.
again, these two have a long history.
Yeah, money back.
And Mike is going to turn over the straight.
Mike wins himself about a $4,000 pot there.
Yeah, baby. That is
Unbelievable.
not
So you
fair,
don't.
sir.
So now are you back to you don't like to tie up your money now with those over/under wins and stuff like that?
I have plenty of money. It's not a case of tying it up. Now what has happened, I spend every week of the season saying, well, I already have that team. So I don't bet the game. And my best success has become each week is independent, unless I find just a prop that just is outrageous, like so many wins for the season at a high price, 10-1 or over some number, something like that. But basically, a good tip for sports bettors is no parlays, no future tickets. Just bet every day. Study your games.
Just bet the games.
And bet one game at a time.
No teaser bets.
No teaser bets. No. There's the isolated teaser spot, but if you get involved in that, then you're going to be looking at teasers, and then you're going to be making bad bets.
I mean, there's a reason why they call it a teaser.
There's that's a good reason, and it might be that the players named it after the.
Yeah, exactly.
The house didn't name it; the players did.
No, I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
Barry is raised here.
I fancy myself I mean, I really love the NFL. I watch it religiously. So I was curious what your. Do you have a favorite team though?
No, I grew up in Chicago, so I was.
You're not a Bears fan.
I'd like to see the Bears win, and I felt good the year they went on and played well. And
But hey, if you got to bet against them, you bet against them.
Each week is separate. The other part of sports betting is we jumped the gun. 80% of my bets are on the totals.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yes, and the reason for that is I find the totals far more predictable in NBA, NFL than I do who will win. And it's the same with baseball.
Now, Barry raised the flop. He check-called the flop. Trish bet with sevens. He's picked up a royal flush draw on the turn, but it's another overcard. And he's checked the turn here, and Trish has continued to bet here with sevens, really put Barry
The
in
thing
a tough
doesn't make much
spot.
sense, though, is, I mean, Trish now bet the flop. Now, Trish is a good enough player. She will bet trip kings, but, I mean, the ace obviously can scare him, but I'm not sure why the kings would scare him that much.
He didn't bet the flop. He just check-called, and Trish has bet again here. But again, Barry's way out in front.
Yeah. Oh, she's in terrible shape.
Yeah.
She needs a 7 and only a 7. Now, you were saying you like to bet the NBA totals?
NBA totals.
Okay.
Almost any sport totals, because I'm fortunate, I guess. I have a more often an understanding of how they're going to play the game. Are they going to
I
play
got you.
fast?
The
Are they going to
tempo,
play slow?
how it's going to be played. I got you.
Is it a real important game where nobody wants to make a mistake and they're going to just play careful?
I got you. Barry's
And
calling.
Barry check calls here, and this pot is quickly almost $3,000. Is Trish going to bluff at it at the end? And the river is a jack.
Oh,
and now
man.
Barry can't beat the king or the jack, and Trish's hand is counterfeited. Oh, and did she check behind? Oh, what an opportunity she had to bet Barry off that hand.
Yeah, but how does she know what he has, though? Remember, if he has a jack, it's almost impossible to bluff him off of it. You know, if he has the ace, it's going to be very difficult
Yeah.
to bluff him off. You know, I think she gave it a shot there. Now she knows. She goes, God, if I moved all in, there's no way you can call me.
How about just any bet? There's no way they can call any bet.
No, but how about take a look the other way around? She looks like she could just be waiting for a trap there. I mean, he checked it. She bet, he called.
Right, I
She
mean,
checked it again and bet, and he called. I mean, it's like somebody sitting with
How easy is it for him to have a king there?
or a jack,
Yeah,
or an
exactly.
ace.
How about pocket aces, something like that? We've seen him play that in that
Exactly.
manner before.
We got to set up here so we can continue talking. Okay, so it's interesting. I think I've hammered you enough about sports betting. I'm going to let Bart kind of delve into the Omaha 8 or better mind here.
Yeah. Well, you know, the most interesting thing I find about what I've seen from you, and I played with, like I said, I don't know if you remember.
I do.
This.
I remember now.
We played in a satellite this year. We played in a $500 satellite. I've probably played with you in at least 50 hours of cash games. It didn't seem like your tournament strategy changed up all that much because you seem to be very tight and solid in cash games. Obviously, you need to loosen up a little bit more in tournaments. And I thought I almost felt that I was playing too tight in some of the tournaments. But you have the results. What is your difference between your tournament 8 or better limit play and your cash game 8 or better limit play?
Like I said, I haven't played much cash the last couple of years, but before that was when there wasn't a tournament on, I'd be playing at the Mirage, and then they moved the game to the Bellagio, and that was just a steady source of income for me. And the reason I'm happy with that game, no limit hold'em or hold'em is much more volatile. I would say, you can have a big win or a big loss, and you can lose 5 or 6 days in a row if you play well. But the Omaha, if I play well, I just can't lose 4 days in a row.
Yeah, because it's actually, people don't realize in these split pot games, that game's probably got the least variance of any game, right?
It
Omaha
does.
high-low split game.
It has the least variance,
Yeah.
and yet if you get a good game where a couple of your opponents become disoriented and think they have to win in the next 10 minutes or the next hour, then they start playing every hand. You play your consistent regular game, and you can have just some really big wins in an Omaha live game.
Now, Brent, one of the Shirley Rosario used to commentate here with us. Obviously, she's a big Omaha player and plays a lot of tournaments and stuff. And we always talk about how bad we think even some of the regular players that play Omaha play. How bad they are in tournaments. How people consider some people to be good Omaha 8 or better terms, and you watch them play, and it's almost like they haven't even necessarily grasped the fundamentals of the game in some cases.
In some cases, but I put the games on levels, and sometimes you don't understand the level the next group up is playing.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing a level above you, and you say, well, gee, they're playing bad cards, but they know how you play, so they don't have to play A, B, C,
right,
or whatever. We've seen a couple of these hold'em hands right now in front of us where it was a case of who bet and who didn't bet. It's not a case of who had what. And Omaha's that way too. There are some of the great plays in Omaha. If you get the field going against you, if you have like an ace deuce type of hand and it comes 5-7 queen, if you don't bet it and you let it go, now maybe you fall off, you make the nuts for low. But now, let's say it comes a jack, and then you bet. Your opponents are just convinced that you have a high hand.
Right.
So if you miss on the end, you can bet it and win the pot half the time. And if it comes low, you've made low, and maybe they don't even think you have that. So if you have low with a pair, you show them ace deuce and a pair of eights, and they go, oh, I just got ace deuce. You get 3/4.
Well, I mean, the other fundamental thing that I see people do in Omaha, and I love how when Omaha's a part of a mixed game, is some of these guys will just, like, say, chase a dry ace deuce to maybe a bet and a raise on like a big bet turn with nothing else going for high, and maybe no counterfeit backup for low.
Yes, well, we've all made that mistake. A lot of times a hand looks good, or you have a backdoor flush with it, or you think if you hit the right card for low, now you have the low and a good pair, or a low and pick up a draw. But that's back to the word teaser we had in here about 10 minutes ago. Ace deuce jack 9 is a teaser hand. It looks like, oh well, I could make a pair of jacks and a nut low, or a 10-8-7 for a straight and a nut low, and it works out one time in a gazillion, or how many ever that is. And
we got an interesting hand here. I got to jump in here.
Yeah, let's go.
Mo is slow played aces here.
Yeah,
he did not bet the flop.
Well, he limped pre-flop, and he didn't get the limp re-raise.
And then he did not bet the flop also.
And now he's just called Barry, and Mike is overcalled with top pair, and the river is a 6.
And Barry has now made the straight.
But Mike's got the top end of it.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be really interesting. Now, Mo has got the third best hand. He's got garbage. Mike is backed into the straight here, made a pair on the turn.
And Mo
now
easily folds.
Oh, it's a one-liner to a straight here.
And Mike is going to raise.
And this is going to be really interesting. I think Barry's going to pay him off. I really do.
It's interesting, like you said, Dave, there was 5 people in there. We talk about, Mo is probably limping to try to get the limp re-raise with aces from up front. Didn't get it, but didn't put the feeler bet out on the flop. Maybe it was a little bit too coordinated for him.
No, you know what? And I don't mind the way he played it at all. He just checked it. He just said, you know what? I didn't get the limp re-raise. Too many players in this pot. I don't like the way this feels. I'm throwing it away. And you know what? That's part of playing in a no-limit cash game. It's not a tournament. You don't have to win this hand. You can always pick a better spot.
Now, Barry showed Mike the deuce here. He has not called the raise. Mike just made a min raise. He made it 300, and let's see what Barry's going to do here. Or he made it 300 more. It's a $600 raise. The pot right now is about 1,100, 300 for Barry to call. Again, getting a lot of pot odds here, but is this a pot odds? And look at this, Barry's.
Well, he showed him the 10.
Yeah.
Mike has showed him a 10, so it's like, okay, you got a 10, so what's the other card?
And then he said, do you have 10-7? Mike said, that's exactly what I have. Mike's holding the cards up. He showed the 10.
One of the tricks that I used early in my career is if I had the nuts, I'd show the bad card, and I got called a lot of times before they changed the policy that you're not allowed to show cards. Now, obviously, this is a live game, not a tournament game.
Right.
So
I got to tell you, I hate that because it's one of my favorite things. I really rely on physical tells as well, and I love showing cards and getting reactions out of my players, out of my opponents, especially when they make a tough bet on the river.
Yeah.
I'll show them what I have and see how they act. I don't understand why they don't allow it in a tournament. Now, I understand if it's 3 or 4-handed, which is the same in a cash game, but once you're heads up, what the hell's the difference?
Well, no, because it affects whether I win or you win, affects who can go on to win the tournament, or how short a guy is, or will he get knocked out sooner.
That's poker, though, to me. I mean, I don't know. To me, it's ridiculous. To me, anything you can use when you're heads up there, I have no problem with it. It's poker.
And Barry folded. He made a hell of a laydown because we always talk about when can Mike be bluffing, getting like 3 or 4 to 1, and Mike actually showed the 10-7.
Wow.
And Mike berates Barry for folding, saying, "How the hell do you lay that down for just 300 more?"
Right.
Which is great.
You donkey, how do you call?
Yeah.
How do you lay it down?
Well, I'm money ahead on people that they make a bet and you're thinking it's a tough call. You're thinking about a tough call, and they start putting their hand toward the muck like this. They have the best hand far more often than they don't, and so you have to be real strong to lay it down and then just go on to the next hand. Don't worry about it.
Well, if somebody's that comfortable, when they're kind of joking around like that, and usually when somebody's that comfortable, they're not bluffing. I mean, at least from what I've seen. I happen to agree with you.
Right. It's tough. It's tough to be that deceitful. Once you can start chirping and making noises and stuff like that,
usually if you're
made a hand.
Exactly. Usually, if you're bluffing, you're worried that something's going to come out that shows that you're bluffing. So you're usually real quiet, real still, trying not to move too much. At least from what I've seen.
Right.
Mike raised this pre-flop. Wow, it goes check, check. Mike didn't bet there. Well, he took the card on the draw. Maybe he didn't want to get check raised by Alan, and Alan's turned the best hand. Usually Mike will automatically bet that, Dave, if it gets checked to him. Check, check here on the turn. The river's a 5.
Alan has the best hand here. Alan's going to win this.
And that's going to piss Mike off even more with ace-3.
Well, Mike just won a big pot. He can't be too irritated.
You don't know Mike that well.
That's right. I'm new. Probably the only player that I see at the table. I played with Mo a few times here in L.A. and Surrender. I played around the country in different spots with him. And Surrender's a premier player, so he's here for the World Poker Tour final, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, you say you live in Vegas now, right?
Mostly. Oak Park, Illinois is still my official residence, but poker's not legal there, so I spend, like a golfer, I spend most of my time on the road.
You play golf? Okay, what's your handicap?
No, I'm like a golfer.
Oh, like a golfer, sorry.
A golfer has to go to tournaments everywhere. He doesn't have a home.
I got you.
That's what I meant.
I got a question for you, Brent, here on the 2+2 thread, saying, Brent, do you ever play pot limit Omaha 8 or better, and what obviously the differences between that and the limit 8 or better?
Okay, that game existed. It started at the Stardust Hotel and Casino approximately 1985, and it stayed a popular game until about 89, so we're going back a lot of years that game was played in casinos. Now, some of the internet sites have popped up with pot limit Omaha 8 or better, and I've played that some with reasonably good success.
Alan gets his gin card there on the turn.
Wow,
look at this. Mike has top 2, and Alan's got the absolute nuts.
And Gil has a 7, and Gil is just going to call, but Alan has 7-8 here. Mike checked the flop. I think he was trying to make a check raise or slow play the flop, and let's see what Alan doesn't have much over there, Dave. Doesn't have much money.
Well, he's definitely going to get it all in, that's for sure.
Oh,
no, he's actually moved to seat 9.
Oh, those are all his chips over there.
And you can tell he's got a big hand because he reached back for the hundreds.
And he's going to raise it up.
That's a tell, isn't it? When you wanted to move to another seat and then you reach back for your hundreds only?
And especially when you come over.
Now, if Mike calls here, can Gil ever get away from this hand? He's got a 7. And Gil is playing over Franco right now, with Franco's chips, I believe.
And
let's see what Gil's going to do.
Mike's going to throw away top 2. I think Gil's going to call here. Now, we see this mistake all the time where players will overcommit with a 7 here. And I got to tell you, oftentimes if I have a 7 here, unless the pot is really big or I have a really good feeling that my opponent might be bluffing, I'll just let him have it. I don't need to put a lot of money in there hoping for a chop.
Wow, and Gil is going to re-raise Alan all in. Oh, you love that with 7-8.
Oh, God. I mean, Gil is drawing dead to a chop here. He needs an 8 to chop it up, and that's it.
Unbelievable, and Alan's got the goods here.
Yeah.
Here we go to the river. And the river is a 7, but it makes no difference. It's straight on the board, but Alan's got an 8.
Yep.
And this all started by Mike actually not betting a pretty big flop. He had 5-6 of clubs on the flop.
Yeah, and that's the mistake there. We see it all the time, players overcommitting when at best you're going to chop it up. I mean, I've seen sometimes where, the pot is like $300. Guy bets $1,500. The guy goes, well, okay, I'll call. It's probably a chop pot. So you're putting $1,500 in there to win $150.
Right.
Obviously,
it doesn't have to be a chop pot. Right, you're laying 10-1.
You're laying 10-1 hoping for a chop.
Right.
Because remember, at best, let's say the pot's $300. At best, you're going to get $150 of that, and you're putting $1,500 in there for it. And at worst, you're going to lose it all.
But unless it's a complete stone bluff, then you're going to pick it up.
Right.
You got to know your players. But now I've only watched about 8 or 9 hands here with you guys, and I've seen some really poor starting hands being played along.
Absolutely.
We sort of wonder if this is a TV game. Now, like I said, you've been doing the show for quite a while. We had 7-8, we had 5-6, we had people in with Deuce 3 and 7-10.
I got to tell you, 7-8, 5-6, and Deuce 3. That's some of the better hands. At least those hands are somewhat connecting. Wait until you start seeing the King 4, Queen 3, Jack 5. I mean, those are the ones that I really get me scratching my head.
So we cut away there. More on pot. I want to hear pot limit 8 or better.
Pot limit 8 or better. Well, you just require a different kind of hands to start with, because you can't just call and see if you can backdoor straight or backdoor flush or backdoor low, because a good player will price you right off of it if he has something. You just need to be a little more careful, yet it gives you the opportunity to make one big bet early and find out where you are, and perhaps wind up check on down. But it would be my favorite game if it still existed.
Now, yeah, because you can't really find that game in a cash game format really around here, like in this area at least. I mean, maybe in Tunica, I don't know. But
right, no, internet only as far as I've been able to search it around.
Yeah.
But I have a sort of a commitment from the people that run the World Series of Poker that it may be in next year.
Oh, as a tournament?
As a tournament. Now, it's not official yet. The meetings are going to take place September, October before they put a schedule together. But they're going to run some later tournaments. Okay, we got back to a hand. We got a live hand of some action developing right here.
Well, Mo is bet here, and Gil has check called here with 9-10. Mo had Gil dominated. Mo makes a continuation bet because he raised on the button with ace-9. Gil calls with 9-10, and Mo's going to need some help here.
Yeah, Mo's in real bad shape now. He needs an ace and only an ace.
Turns a queen, but how is Gil going to continue to play this? Well, now he looks like he's going to come out and bet here.
They'll chop it up if a jack falls now as well.
Yeah.
So Mo's going to need an ace to win and a jack to chop it up. Otherwise, Gil's going to win this pot. You can see the overwhelming favorite that Gil is, and he bets and he takes it down.
Now, I don't want to make a gross generalization, but can you say that high hands have more value in pot limit 08 than in limit 08?
Not the way I play them. I play them in low hands have the most value. You get where you've got the low locked up, and then you put the pressure on somebody that's trying to make a flush or fill in a high hand, or he's up there with middle and bottom pair, and you make a full pot bet, and you're like safe one way, or even if you don't have a low yet, you have a wrap or almost a cross, and the guy goes, well, what can I do? I could be in a real bad place.
Well, what I meant by that was not a strictly high hand, but let's say like maybe you would rather have in limit 8 or better ABC 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3 5, whereas is it more valuable in pot limit 8 or in pot limit to have say king ace 3?
Raise 80 total.
Yes, but you'd have to be able to give it up every time you don't get a king.
Yeah.
Or unless it comes dose 6 7, where okay,
right.
I've got the nut low
Yeah.
and an overpair, and so therefore, if I don't get counterfeited, I can't. At least I get a quarter of the pot back, and I could be in excellent position to get more than that.
Not low overpair, maybe a king high flush draw, something like that. Ideal, right?
Right. You could be backing into those.
Yeah.
That's why Omaha. There are so many more things to keep your scope of what you can have and what you can make, and whether it's worth it to pay on the flop to see one more card. But here's a truism for this game: start bad, finish bad. If you start with a poor hand, more often than not, you're going to wind up with a poor hand. You're going to get a flop if you play 7, 8, 9, 10 double suited. But you flop 2 pair, and you have the best hand, but the first card off, the other guy makes a low. Now you still have the best hand. Now you've got to survive a possible flush, or him making 3 threes or something.
Right.
Start good, finish good. Start bad, finish bad, and keep that in your mind if you're playing Omaha 8 or better limit or pot limit. That's a good concept to have.
Now, one last thing. We really appreciate you stopping by. One last thing. I wanted to ask because I remember this, and it's very interesting. Besides your sports gambling and besides your poker, what else did you do for a living in Illinois? And I thought you did it for a living. Maybe it was for a hobby.
No, I did it for a living when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
I drove harness race horses.
Harness race horses.
Right, and I went back after 20 years. I played poker and stuff for 20 years. In 2002, I went back, got my license back, and I won my first race back. And the people that know me from both poker and sports, they said, and I'm more proud of this than some of my tournaments. They said, it's like somebody that never played a hand of cards for 20 years and comes back and wins a tournament. And it was a thrilling experience for me.
Now, if you're a harness racing driver, is that the correct terminology?
Yeah, I'm overweight. That's right.
Well, but harness,
are you considered a jockey?
No, driver.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not. That's what I was going to get into.
Right.
Like jockeys are what 5'2", 108. Harness race drivers are more.
I mean, you weigh at least 125.
When I started driving, I was like a 165, 170, which was okay. The bike balances, I was maybe 20, 30 pounds over to some of the guys, but I was taller, which gave me a little better sight angles for where the horses were and where position wasn't coming in and out. And my strategy was better than most of the other drivers, but my actual physical, getting the most out of a horse, might have been a trifle not as good. But sitting around here at the bicycle club all those summers, eating the buffet when they had it, they bring the free prime rib to your table. It's tough to.
Man, when were those days?
Shape.
Jeez,
it's right now.
I actually think this room was part of the buffet, right? The grill area.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to remember the names. I wanted to say something before, as long as we're going on this. Let's catch up with this hand as this comes out, and we'll be back to a story about the bicycle casino.
Jack 5-5-8.
Yeah.
Two hearts out there.
Doesn't look like there's much out here.
Nobody's got much of anything here. Ace high still the best hand. Ace 9.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's going to bet. Table has not really played all that big, running heart here.
Yeah. And Ace 9 is the winning hand here. Barry's going to take it down.
So here's a trivia question for you guys. What major tournament is the longest running one at the same location?
Well,
at the same location.
The same location.
I'm going to say Legends of Poker.
Would it be Legends of Poker?
I would have to say it's here at the bike.
Yeah.
Now, Legends of Poker was officially renamed in 1995, but this August slot for tournament has been at the Bicycle Club facility since the mid-'80s.
Wow.
And every other, I would say you're probably right in the sense that every other tournament is either changed the venue, changed place. I mean, you think of the Bellagio wasn't even around until 1998.
Right.
Obviously, the World Series has now changed.
The World Series would be the only other one. The Commerce started its tournament in 1992, so they were quite a bit behind on getting on the tournament circuit. But this was a premier tournament in the 80s. In fact, this was number 2 rated by the players in the 80s and early 90s. A couple people came in with TV and things later, but this is still a traditional spot. August for the bike is a place where people are accustomed to coming and playing medium to high limit tournaments, and well run.
Hey, I'm going to put you on the spot. I have a question for you.
I got lots of spots. Go ahead.
One of my biggest beefs I've had with Harrah's, by the way, is the fact that Harrah's most of the casinos kind of have an air of respect for each other in the sense that, okay, August has always been the Bicycles, Casinos, Legends of Poker. Okay, so the Bellagio, they do their tournaments this month. And then the Commerce does their casinos, their tournaments at this month. Well, now Harrah's is kind of coming and going, okay, we have the World Series, we'll do it whenever we want. I mean, did you see anything wrong with that at all? Or is it just me?
No, well, see, you'll see it more because this is home for you. Whenever something gets you at home, it gets your senses more. Back in 1997, Binion's Horseshoe moved their Hall of Fame to August and came full August, right flat on top of the of this tournament.
I remember you telling that story at the Omaha satellite that we were playing in.
And I've told that to a couple people, and Jack McClellan, who runs the Bellagio now and used to run the World Series, I've agreed with him about 99% of the things he does. But I said, Jack, how can you do this? I mean, it's their slot. And he says, well, they can move it. And this was the only time I felt, okay, now I know there's no license to times a day and times a year in different states, but I thought it was also more of an attack like, okay, we're going to be more macho than you. Rather than dollars and cents and customer awareness, They made their customers decide whether to stay in California or come to Binion's. They made the Binion's players decide whether to come here, come there. And I was in a dilemma, and I had personal things going on that one particular summer, so I didn't come here. But out of tradition, I would have come here, and I really didn't play much at Binion's that year either because I had other things going on. And I don't think people should necessarily come on top of each other, or especially in the same region.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously I have no problem with, hey, if there's a tournament in Atlantic City or in Paris, hey, whatever.
Right.
But you'll see how the commerce and you see how the bicycle casino, there just seems to be a respect about it where they don't go on top of each other. Hey, if I don't want to point out the obvious here, but how did that work out for Binion's? I mean, the bike is actually we're flourishing.
Well, that one particular, that had no effect on the long term. Other things changed things.
Right.
Because at that time, I'm pretty sure it was still. It was still Jack Binion running it before Becky took him to court to make a confusion out of it.
Pocket kings here for seat number 4, and Allen's got an overpair here. 9-4-5 here on the flop, and he's going to bet here. Jeff is going to bet.
Now, Allen should be able to get away from this pretty easily. I mean, it's pocket 8s here. You can't beat a 9. You can't beat. I mean, even if the guy had 2 high hearts, do you really want to get involved? And he throws it away.
Wow, what's it? Oh, yeah, not a bad laydown. You wonder if he was going to get involved there.
Yeah, I mean, you got to start thinking, what can you beat there, really, with pocket 8s?
You know, one last thing before we let you go here. You were kind of featured. I don't remember, was it 2004, 2005? Maybe it was 2005. It was last year, right? Kind of on that featured table with Phil Hellmuth. Did you have anybody come up to you and say, "Hey, you're that guy that had that salty confrontation with Phil Hellmuth"?
I've had a few. In fact, it's of course maybe people that like Phil wouldn't say anything to me, but I've had dozens and dozens of people come up. Yeah, if somebody finally stands up to Phil. Well, I've played with Phil for years since he came up, and we could tell dozens of Phil stories. I remember staying across the street here. Probably 1991, 1992, and Phil had won the World Series in '89, and he was here, and he was almost broke. Well, I mean, of course, the World Series, it wasn't paying quite as much then as it is now, but he'd played high, and he got lost in some games, and wound up getting backed in, and we talked about, how you keep your bankroll together. And that's really a poker question that you address for everybody. Do you play very aggressively and play high compared to your bankroll to get rich, or do you do as obviously I know what I've done. I played too low for my bankroll. I've had a lot of success, and you can still see out there playing 30-60 or something, where I could play 30-60 from now until this time next year, lose every day. I mean, if it was possible, lose every day, and I still wouldn't worry about eating. So, but a lot of top players, boom, all of a sudden they want to play 1 in 2,000 limit. They want to play games where you sit down with 20,000 in front of you.
Well, it's that thrill, I mean, it's one of those things where if your bankroll gets to the point where, for some of these guys, we had Tim Fan in the booth yesterday, really a class guy, younger Asian player. But sometimes he talks about sitting down in the game where, if he plays less than 300, 600 limit right now, he just doesn't get that rush. He doesn't, and he doesn't play his best poker because he's not playing high enough. That really gives him the thrill.
Absolutely the truth. Now, that fun concept is the other way. When I play lower than the aggressive game where you go, you're in danger, I go, well, I can't let these lower level players beat me, so I bring the A game almost all the time.
Wow, look at this. We've got a pretty action flop here for a few players here. 8-7-5 rainbow. Mike has 6-8. He's got top pair. He's open-ended. Gil's got 4-5. Well, Gil's going to get away from it. Kenny's got 7-4. Is Kenny going to get involved here against Mike?
I mean, it's not really a hand you're looking for. I mean, he's got backdoor clubs. I mean, if the 6 were to come, yeah, you'd have a straight, but anybody with a 9 would have a higher straight.
Yeah.
Why get involved?
And it looks like Kenny does not get involved. And the button's going to move over here to surrender. And looks like we're going to get another chip count coming up.
Once again, we are live at the bike here. We got a chip count, $39,700 on the table. Mike's got the table covered with $11,000. Kenny bringing up the rear. Kenny win with $1,300. And I got to tell you, if I'm Kenny Wynn, I'm going to have a little bit more money. I just don't play that many pots if I'm Kenny. And when I finally do get that big pot, I want to make some money off it. Let's see how the players are doing. And that's Gil, or you can actually say it's Franco, up $2,100. Mike up $1,000. Haven't seen much movement tonight. Now Mo, little turn of events. Remember, he won the first hands of the night, doubled up, won about $2,500, and now he's down $1,000. We'll keep track of this throughout the night. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here at Bart Hansen. We have the pleasure of having two-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner Brent Carter with us. Professional poker player and professional sports bettor.
And Jeff is going to raise here with Ace-10. And Barry has called Dave with the dominated King-10. And here we go to the flop. Well, 2 people hit the 10.
If you have any questions for Brent Carter, whether they're poker-related, sports-related, or just, hey, bankroll-related, because obviously Brent has been around the game for quite a long time, feel free. I mean, hey, if Phil Hellmuth could ask you a question, I'm sure our viewers can. So email him in at live@thebike.com.
That was amazing, Dave. Jeff bet 200. Barry raised it up to 600, and Jeff immediately moved in. And Barry just folded, but it didn't even look like Jeff had that much left. I mean, I don't even know if it was even enough to cover the all-in bet. It was very strange. I mean, Barry raised it to 600. Jeff had about 400 more. I guess Barry got his information and dumped it.
One of the things that's great about like Mike's game and Trish's game is they really think through all the decisions, even the ones that kind of look, even the ones that look trivial. They really think it through. They're not making impulsive decisions. Well, not normally, unless, of course, obviously Mike is tilting. Some of the lesser players at the table, sometimes they'll fold too quickly, they'll call too quickly, they'll move in too quickly. They don't think through the hand very well.
And the button moves over here to C2. So you also play no-limit tournaments, right?
I play no-limit tournaments. Now, there gets to be a new concept. We go back to the late 80s, all through the 90s. A tournament, there weren't as many no-limit because it wasn't as popular. You guys doing the bike show and things like that are breaking it no-limit real popular. But tournaments would have 80 players, 100 players, 120 players, 40% for first, 20% for second, 10% for third. So the top 3% of the players would get 70% of the money. Well, now you get 400, 500, 600 players. The money is so top-heavy now compared to the way it used to be. Now people say, "Oh no, we're giving a few less percentage," but not really. If you take a tournament like at the World Series at 1,000 players, well, the top 30 players are 3%. Well, they got 97% of the money. So what's really happening is the money in tournaments is getting really clumped at the top compared to being spread around relatively evenly. You can beat 95% of the players over and over and over in big tournaments, and you're just going to lose money.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It's one of my contentions when we talk about tournament play. Oftentimes our viewers, Bart and I are both professional poker players. We play poker for a living. This is not really where we make the majority of our money.
You have fun here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, watching this and analyzing thousands of hands, we've both improved our game probably 500%.
Absolutely. I've done little pieces of seminar for people on that. And we'll go finish your thought.
Anyway, I was going to say, when you're talking about tournaments, though, people are always saying, "Hey, Bart, Dave, why don't you guys come in first place in tournaments?" And we always kind of point out, first of all, we don't play very many tournaments. We play a lot more cash games. But there's also a completely different animal in the sense that if you want to win tournaments, first of all, if you want to be a successful tournament player, you're not looking to cash. You're looking to get in the top 3, top 4, because that's where all the money is, because it's all clumped up there. You would rather completely strike out in 9 out of 10 tournaments and finish in first place or second place in the 10th one. While some people, psychologically would rather go, well, I'd rather cash in 4 of them. And, the weird thing is you see a lot of players that, I actually aren't very good poker players, but are doing really, really well in tournaments because they'll gamble it up and they'll do well in one tournament. And you'll see them, and you'll see their face out there because of that.
Yes,
kind of a strange kind of dichotomy that's going on.
It is, and yet you put somebody's face in your mind because they finished first in a couple of tournaments, and then you don't see them for a while, and you think, well, boy, they're doing great. They did great. They won 80,000 here and 106,000 over there, and meanwhile they get ground up 2,000 a crack for a couple of months, and the money evaporates. There's a definite steadiness to live games, and also what you're saying, there's you have to play tournaments differently than you play live games.
Of course, I mean, when I'm sitting down in a no-limit cash game, I'm not interested in being the big winner of the night. I don't care if I'm the big winner. I just want to win. I want to play my game. The cards will fall where they may, and after I play for a month or 2 months, I know the money's going to come my way.
Right. If you just go ahead and play your game. And the Kenny Rogers song is there's be plenty of time for counting when the dealing's done. Well, okay, now that's not true for tournaments, but that is true for just playing your day-to-day game.
Yeah.
And then you don't have much pressure. I mean, sure, you may have 2 or 3 losing days where things didn't fall right, but...
Wow, interesting flop here. I'm going to interrupt you. We got Mike with a flush draw, and we got Barry. Now, Mike and Barry have a lot of history together. Barry's open-ended.
And Gil's got top pair. And you know that Gil, obviously, he is more of a tournament player, kind of has a little bit of that style, not going anywhere. The top pair, he's not going anywhere. He makes the call.
Now, when you got a draw, how do you, I mean, obviously, it always depends. We always answer that question. But, I mean, do you like to play your draws hard? Do you like to kind of see where you're going to be?
Obviously, no. You want to get the draws for free unless you think you can drive somebody out with them.
Right.
But in this spot, if I had the top pair, I'd make a giant bet.
Yeah.
I would make them. I would
make them pay for the draws.
Make them pay to see where they're going.
Well, you can see here, Gil is he's a favorite to win the pot.
But he might be afraid. He might be afraid he doesn't have the best hand.
Well, think about it. I mean, he can't beat King 10. He can't beat Ace 10. He doesn't have a very strong holding. Puts him in a precarious spot.
But he has to make a decision, during the original round of betting, whether people had an overpair, and at this point, pressure is the thing he has to bring.
Well, right now it's pretty much, to me, maybe it's a raise or fold situation in the sense that if you're not comfortable with your hand, throw it away. But if you think you got the best of it, put some pressure on your opponent's head of the draws.
And that's what makes this game tough. This game is not a game.
And Gil just lays it down there.
Nothing wrong with that lay down. I got to tell you, just top pair with a queen kicker, you can go to war with better than that, can't you?
Well, let's see what Barry does here with the open-ended straight draw. He's ahead, obviously, with Queen Jack, and Mike has actually picked up the bottom end of a gut shot to the 3 now as well.
Yeah, now
with his club draw.
Mike can catch a 3, a club, a deuce, or a 4 to win this. Barry, the rest of the deck is Barry's, and you can see that Barry's about a 3-2 favorite to win this hand.
Mike has bet $500 here, and Barry has called, and this pot is quickly $2,000. And if it goes miss-miss, it's going to be interesting to see the action. Barry is out of position. And the river is a 6. Nobody has anything. You got to imagine that Barry checks. Mike's going to bluff at it.
And Barry cannot beat anything here. He really can't beat anything. What's he going to do?
Well, it's whoever bluffs first, and Barry has checked.
Well, you never know, actually. We've seen bluff and bluff.
And Mike is going to bet 1,000. And Mike's going to show this hand.
Everybody heard that. Is that binding? Is that binding?
Probably is what I heard.
There it is, and he shows it. He shows 4 high. He actually plays the board.
Yeah, exactly. His 4 high does not even play.
Yeah.
That's what comes with playing with the same players over and over, which you don't get in tournaments that much. You get a random draw with a big tournament. But you come here and play day after day. You're going to play with the same players several nights a week, and you learn what kind of hands they play. So you'll play a pair of 10s completely different against one player than you will against another.
No, 100% correct.
And in that spot, had Gil gone ahead and just made a big bet,
he probably takes it down.
He just takes it down.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it. If he takes the betting lead, now obviously, unfortunately for Gil, Mike had the betting lead and Gil never took it from him, and Mike never relinquished it.
Let me ask you a question too. As you play a lot of tournaments and you're familiar with a lot of these guys that make the tournament circuit. I'm going to interrupt myself because Surrender Shunar is playing a hand, which is a big news here tonight because he's played about 3 all night. He's going to raise it with Ace Queen of Hearts here.
But we always point out you don't have to play many hands in the No Limit Hold'em cash games to win.
Mike's got pocket 10s. Let's see what he's going to do. Surrender, again, make a very smallish raise for a cash game, only something like 3 times the big blind. Mike is just going to call. I think he's going to play it cautiously because Surrender's played it so tight tonight.
That's going to bring Alan in for sure. I know Alan's going to call with King Jack suited here. We're going to see it 3 ways, about a $300 pot.
And you're right, Alan's going to get lucky here. He's got 2 cards over the pair, and his 2 cards are live. I mean, that's rare in that spot.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, nice over at pair here for Mike. Is Surrender going to follow through with a continuation bet?
Well, no, he's going to check it.
He did check it.
He checks it. My question for you, I was wondering if Surrender bet there, a nice pot-sized bet, how do you like your 10s? I mean, isn't it pretty easy for Surrender to have jacks, queens, kings, or aces?
Well, again, that's a question that I think you and I probably would lay the hand down. Mike is probably going to at least take one off and see what happens.
I'd probably take one off, too.
Were you really?
I'm not going to immediately just assume the guy's got jacks, queens, or kings. Remember, he could have ace-king, he could have ace-queen.
No, we'll see.
I might even raise him one time and see what he does. You know what I mean? Keep the pot small, but let's Remember, he doesn't know where I'm at either. I could have smooth called him with queens.
Now, the question I wanted to ask you is because I bring it up on the show a lot, and I wonder if I say this is my opinion, if I'm off base or on base. Can somebody make a living nowadays, a healthy living, let's say over $100,000 a year, playing just tournaments, no side games, no sponsorship, no backing, and no ancillary money from other sources, with the expenses that come in the VIG?
That's so tough because what we described about how the places are paid. Years ago, you could go to a 2-week tournament, and I could go to a 2-week tournament and just count on making money.
Yeah.
I'd say, well, I'm going to make 2 final tables. Maybe I'll get a 3rd and a 7th, and I'll win for the trip.
Yeah.
But now you can't think that way because of the giant variables. You play it in these big tournaments, you might win. You might have a year you win 200,000, but you might have a year you lose 100,000. I mean, a good player can easily have a losing year in today's tournament
Just playing
scheduled
tournaments.
circuit.
Yeah,
Right.
we point that out all the time. One of the things that actually drives me nuts is if you go onto any of these websites, they tell you what somebody's career winnings are, right? And you go, wow, that's pretty impressive. The guy's won $2 million. But what it doesn't tell you is how many tournaments he entered. So all I see is I go, okay, well, this guy's got 14 World Series of Poker cashes. He's got a bracelet. He's got 6 final tables, and he's made him $1.1 million. But it doesn't tell me that he's entered 321 World Series events, and it's cost him $4 million to enter.
Right.
So he's actually net down $2.9 million.
Yeah, your example is dramatic because you really couldn't do
obviously.
quite that much. But your point is very true. Somebody brought that up to me. They were showing me the stats of myself versus Phil Hellmuth. They say, well, okay, Phil Hellmuth has 10 bracelets. Brent, you have 2. I said, well, okay, Phil plays twice as many tournaments as I do, but still 10-2 is a far better ratio. He's doing better. I pick my tournaments. I skip all the Hold'em tournaments and some of the no-limit tournaments.
I mean, how many tournaments did you play the World Series this year?
I didn't count them. I'm thinking 16.
Okay, you played
16.
16. I guarantee you, Phil probably played. Now there were 48 or 49 events with those little, the afterwards
I think
ones.
45.
He played, 45. I mean, that's just a phenomenal number. And you can say, well, wow, Phil won another bracelet. He played. I mean, he has the most cashes in the history of the World Series of Poker. But I'd like to probably guess that he probably has the most tournaments entered out of anybody in the history of the World Series of Poker.
Yes, but you know what?
Not taking anything away from him. He's a phenomenal player.
Oh, absolutely. And when it comes to the bragging spot, it's a guy, a baseball player says, well, I hit 400, but I only got 100 at bats.
Yeah, while surrender flops 2 pair, and he checked it, Dave. The turn's a jack now.
That's a dangerous board to check.
Absolutely.
And you wonder now if he's just trying to keep this pot small. He checked it again.
Yeah, he checked it again. And now Mike is going to bet because he's picked up a jack. Jeff is going to call in between, and Surrender is going to check raise. Well, now he check raises again on kind of a little bit of a dangerous board.
Well, okay, I'll just throw something out at you. Mike betting means nothing, right? Now, Jeff's smooth calling probably shows that Jeff's not super strong, right? Unless he's got ace-king here. And, Surrender uses his image. He realizes
wow,
that
and I'm shocked here. Jeff is going to call the check raise there. Surrender hasn't played a hand all night long.
Jeff needs a jack, a king, or an ace.
Pot is quickly $800. Here we go to the river, and the river's a third heart. Is that going to shut Surrender down here? Would Jeff have checked the flush draw on the flop, and Surrender's going to bet here again?
Well, no, he definitely could have checked the flush draw, and he could have called, and would he stay in there with a flush draw? Yeah, he would have. It's an odd bet here by Surrender, but it really paralyzes Jeff.
Well, it's kind of like we say, kind of maybe like a blockish defensive bet here on the river.
Yeah, it's a half bet. It's if you're going to move all in, I'm going to give it up. Now that's sure he leaves the door open to get bluffed, but this particular player I've played with before, he's seldom bluffs. This man, I know his face.
You're talking about Surrender?
Name. No, the man where
Jeff here.
Jeff.
Yeah.
He is not a bluffing player. At least he never used to be.
Well,
he's
and he
much
just
a play his
calls.
cards.
And Surrender actually, what turns out is a little blockish kind of half bet, ends up being a nice value bet.
Right.
Well, the funny thing there is, though, I don't understand how does he call the river? What does he possibly beat that Surrender would have check raised the turn with ace jack?
Yeah,
I know it was a bet that's only about 1/3, half the pot, and it's a defensive bet.
He thinks maybe he can beat 10 king or 10-9 or jack 9 or jack king. I mean, those are hands that people sometimes go ahead and bet. They've got an open and a straight and a pair.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, you got a good point there.
Because we're getting to look at all the hands at once here.
Right.
Yeah, so you're talking about the in the cash finishes. So my friend pointed out to me, he says,
Yeah.
well, Brent, you know, and I didn't play the World Series, just a couple events last year because I had a dispute with Harris. So we could go into the dispute with Harris.
Oh, boy. Dave would love it.
Yeah, we'll go into the back with the dispute with Harris if the show doesn't take like till 4 in the morning. But anyway, so he says, well, you have 40 cashes, Brent. I said, don't you want to play these tournaments? And it sort of rang my bell. I said, you know, I should play more tournaments. So this year I played, like I said, about 16 of them. And I did what we were talking about. I just made the money, basically, in 3 of them, where I doubled my money or got my money back.
Right.
And I did
A lot of work for a little money, right?
And I didn't get myself in as strong as a position as I'd like, and I knew there was a couple hands here or there along the play that I should have been more aggressive to try to get chips or get knocked out, because just getting your double your money or whatever, you're 100% right. Once you sign up for the tournament, that money's gone. So now you have to play under the tournament rules and structure that exist. And if they exist and most of the money goes to 1, 2, 3, 4, then you have to play.
That's where you got to go, right?
That's where you've got to go. You can't play to hang on with a hand. But don't forget, once you're knocked out, you can't win. So if you have a few chips, don't get panicked with them. You know, you still have to wait for your spot and double them. But your spot is doesn't have to be as pristine a spot as you were looking for before.
I mean, it's one of those things where you want to survive. Obviously, a lot of tournament poker is survival, because once you're still in, you're putting yourself in a position to get lucky. But at the same time, you're not aiming to. It shouldn't be your goal to go, I got in the money again. I had 6 money finishes. No. Have 2 money finishes and 1 third place, and really make some money out of it.
Yes. Okay. Well, I was fortunate this year. I got to 3rd, and I could cry about the bad break. The man that was all in that wound up 2nd. He was all in 3 times with the worst hand coming to the river, and he won. But there's no crying because I've won a lot of those.
And we're going to keep this going here on LATB Jazz all night long. Once again, we're live at the bike. I'm David Tuckman here with Bart Hansen and special guest Brent Carter, 2-time World Series of Poker bracelet winner. His best game is probably Omaha 8 or better, but neither one of his bracelets came in that.
Yeah, and the bracelets are a while ago, 1991 and 1994.
Did they even have the World Series back then?
Yeah, it did. And I was 3rd in the final event in 1995, and that was a thrill. That was
okay. Now I'm curious here. I don't want to get into your finances, but I'm just curious of one thing. Just this year, you played 16 events, okay?
Right.
And you came in 3rd place in 1. Financially, was it a very successful World Series for you?
Yeah, that was enough. That was $77,000.
So 1 third place finish is enough to really make it the whole trip good.
Counting my other backs, I just right at $100,000, and it cost me around $50 for what I played.
Okay, so you doubled your money.
Yeah.
That's not bad for 4 weeks of work, 5 weeks of work.
Yes, but in today's market, that puts me, as far as total winnings for the World Series, probably down somewhere near 100th.
Well,
because of all the people that made 600,000, 300,000, 800,000.
Well, it's so skewed. I mean, if you look at the World Series, if you just took the main event this year, if you look at the guys who finished in the top 30 that never even played an event before, they're all like in the top winners.
Right.
Now we got a big hand here. Mike's got queens. Trisha's got ace jack, and this is a straddled pot. Let's see how it's played out here. Now the original raise was actually from C9. Surrender actually raised it with 8s. Now Mike, actually Trish was the raiser. I'm sorry, and Mike re-raised it, and we got calls in 4 spots, 5 ways. The pot is quickly about, I want to say, $800. 6-5 deuce rainbow. Nice flop for Gil here. Gil is open-ended with backdoor clubs. I got to tell you, if you have 7-8 clubs, it's kind of the flop you're looking for to hit. Now Mike is still in the lead here with queens. Now I got to tell you, I mean, I know what you thought of Jeff here. I got to tell you, there's no way I'm calling a raise and then a re-raise with king 10 offsuit. I'm not a big fan of calling raises with hands that can be easily dominated. Now 7-8 of clubs, that's a different story.
Right, and so we're seeing. And
wow, and look at this. This is really interesting. We got a bet from Trish, a raise from Mike. We got a move all in from Gil. Surrender's going to easily throw away his 8s here. Trish obviously going to throw away ace jack, and I wonder if Mike's going to call here. How much more is it from Gil?
Well, this is the first time I've been watching for an hour or so, and this is the first time that people have put the pressure on Mike. Mike's been putting pressure on everybody else, and this time he has the best hand, and he may well be throwing it away. He's looking out there, says there's no flush draw, there's no... Did he flop it? He can't really put somebody on a 3-4 for a straight, but it's easy to go, oh, this guy's flopped a set of 5s.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, he could have 2 pair, he could have 6-5 suited. A lot of hands you could have here. Now, that's Mike's style. Mike is definitely he is a student of, like, Doyle Brunson's Super System, that whole no-limit chapter.
Well,
but we always talk about the fact that Mike, other people, Mike, in this spot would lay this hand down because it's just 1 pair, but people tend to make moves on Mike because they don't believe him, which gives him the opportunity, or he should make these calls where other people should dump them.
He has to more often, obviously, because people will make moves with him. But now this case is different. This is raised and re-raised pre-flop. Then it was bet, raised, and re-raised again on the flop. So you're talking about, and Mike is going to call this. And this pot, I want to say, is about $6,000.
Turns to 6. Gil's got the open-ended straight draw. Needs help, and it doesn't come, and Mike's going to win it there with queen.
And Mike wins what is about a $6,000 pot with queens and 6s and a king kicker here.
And Mike said, it's exactly what I put you on. Well,
no, it was exactly what he was hoping he had.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, because I put you on this. Yeah, well, Merry Christmas. A lot of times on those.
Right. It was either that or a set or 2 pair, so I was hoping that was it.
Yeah, and you're hoping it was an open-end straight draw, or, I've seen top players go ahead and start a multi-way hand with a hand like 4-6 suited. So now you're looking at that. Well, I've got a pair of 6s and a gut shot, and I can make 2 pair, and I can drive a guy off of ace king. And yet a player that's rolling well, such as Mike is here, and tonight. Now I haven't seen him because it's my first day here. He apparently is a regular player in this game, so you guys know that.
Mike is a super aggressive player. Like I said, I'm assuming. Are you familiar with Super System, Doyle Brunson's?
Yes.
Obviously Doyle Brunson's style of play, where he's constantly putting the pressure on his opponents. That's kind of Mike's style. He's always going to be putting the pressure on his opponents. He's going to be raising it with all unorthodox hands, so he gets paid off, obviously, when he hits big hands. But when Mike runs well, he can easily win $10,000-$15,000 very quickly. But he can also piss through it real quick.
Yeah. Okay. If he gets his mind twisted and doesn't stay straight on his aggression. You mentioned Doyle Brunson's super book. The original version of that came out. Oh, back in around 1980 or something.
Yeah, 79 actually was the original. That's the one I was talking about, Super System 1, which is one of my favorite books. I really enjoyed it.
It was so tough to read because it dealt with more specific situations sometimes, hands that don't come up that often, rather than general things. But I've played with Doyle a lot over my time, and the book isn't exactly how he plays. He plays a lot more conservative, waiting for the best hand, taking a good call, making 1 bet at somebody, but not always that attack. But it's a good book because now people read the book. He's attacking.
Right. No, definitely. I always try to point out to our viewers, I like to read everything that's out there, not necessarily because it's a good book, but I also like to know what my opponents are reading. Try to give me a little leg up on them.
I'm probably a little behind. I should keep up on what people are writing. TJ Cloutier.
Alan here is going to bet with top 2 pair. He bets 150. Doesn't look like. And look at this. Mike is going to raise with the flush draw, playing the good old 7-deuce suited here.
Yeah, and this is going to be the format of the night here, where we're going to be interrupting each other if the hand arises, obviously.
Yeah. And Barry is going to fold here. And, Alan, he's got top 2. If he just makes the call, you wonder if Mike is going to take a card here if Alan slow plays.
I don't think he's going to take a card here. I think he's going to raise right away, and he is. Look at that.
Yeah.
He's got raising chips there.
What I mean is if Alan were just to call and check to Mike, would Mike check behind him?
Yeah, it's very unlike Alan. Alan, when he's got it, he bets it.
Yeah, Alan re-raises there.
And he takes it down.
Yeah. But in the game I'm used to playing, the style. Now, this game here is a different game, and you need to adjust your play. Let's tell this to all of our listeners. Every time you play poker, you need to adjust your game to the game that's going on at the table you're playing at. You can't play yesterday's game, last week's game, or the game you think is going to be there next month. If you want to win, you have to get into the minds real quickly of how people are playing today.
It's one of the things we always try to point out, that one of the greatest attributes of a good poker player is the ability to adapt. You have to be able to adapt to your surroundings, to your opponents. Because what one day I can play really, really tight, And the next day, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to loosen up and really be the table captain. And the next day, it might change again. And you've got to continually be able to adapt.
Jeff's got pocket 10s over here in seat 4. He's one off the cutoff. And he hasn't played all that much tonight. Again, sometimes we have different... Looks like we get sometimes we have different nights. Sometimes the game plays really big. With Mike at the game, it usually plays big. This one's not playing all that big tonight compared to other nights.
No, this is actually playing smaller.
Yep, and Jeff is going to raise it up here to 140. Gil's limped in here with pocket 5s. Surrender's got a suited ace rag from up front. Really a tough hand to play out of position, and he's not going to play it for a raise. I got to tell you, Surrender definitely playing a taggy image, tight aggressive,
I got to tell
solid.
you, the one thing about Surrender, you got to hand it to him. He has a lot of discipline and a lot of patience.
Jack 9-6 here with a couple diamonds.
Got a pretty ugly flop for 2 black 5s.
Yep. Gil is going to check it.
Now I'm curious. Now this table, I'm not sure if you can see the next to the. You see where the cameras are, right?
Right.
Now next to those, you can see kind of like a little green patchy thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we can actually remove those and make it an Omaha table.
And we haven't done it yet.
We haven't done it yet.
We built it for this.
But what I was going to ask you was, are you in town for the entire Legends?
No, I'm in town till Monday, and I'm going to Scottsdale. I mean, I've been putting off getting a physical for about 30 years, and I got an appointment there to check everything. And let's tell you some of the older players that are on here.
I hope you don't mind. I'm not gonna ask you to cough.
No, I won't do that. Okay. How about you? You want?
Oh,
I'm not into that. But other things start changing too. My eyesight is still real good for distances, but sometimes things up close get a little blurry. Got a few things checked. So this is poker advice too for everybody. You have to be physically at your best to play. If you have to do things like go to the washroom every 12 minutes or other problems that slow you up or take your mind off the game, try to get those adjusted so that when you're playing poker, you're playing the game. We got in the flop.
Yeah, look at
Barry's
this.
going to get involved here.
Jeff raised with pocket queens to 150, and there's 5 people here. It's a $750 pot, and Jeff is going to move all in here. Now Barry's got king jack. He's going to push all in. Well, he doesn't have that much left.
It's kind of like $1,200 though.
Yeah, but it's a $750 pot.
Okay, you're right.
I mean,
you're right.
it's just it's one of those in between
Yeah,
phases that we
definitely.
talk about.
It's a big bet though. Wow.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I don't want to drive a jack out. I really want a jack to call me, don't I? I mean, I got to tell you, I might bet 500 here.
Yeah.
Or, something like that, 550. It's not a real draw-heavy board. I mean, somebody could have 9-10, somebody could have 6-7.
We've talked about this hand so much, and I think this might smells. I think the overbet, Barry thinks he's got ace-king. We've talked about king-jack so much, how it's such an easily dominated hand, now you don't want to call this hand for raises. And Jeff turns over queens, and they're good.
Yeah.
River's a 10.
And that's the biggest problem here with king-jack. One of the things I always try to look at, if I'm going to call somebody's raise, I want to know what I'm rooting for. When I have king-jack, the problem is, do I want a king? Well, not really. Do I want a jack? Well, not really. You have no idea really what you want, short of 2-pair or, flopping a straight. But, I mean, that can happen with any 2 cards. Right?
Now, the funny thing what you just said there is you might bet 500. Now, if you had played it in that manner, what you were talking about, and you bet, and Barry called, and then you bet again, and then Barry was convinced that you had the best of it, he might get away from it.
I don't buy that.
When he makes the overbet, well, not specifically with Barry, but what I'm saying is that did it look like maybe that guy was trying to push with ace-king, or there were too many players in the pot for him to make that move?
To me, obviously I can see the cards, but to me it looked like, that's a big push there with a jack out there if you don't have an overpair. I think if you bet 500, you get a call by the jack, and I think at that point Barry thinks the pot's too big to throw it away for another $600. But hey, that's just me. I'm trying to build a pot. I don't want to lose him.
Pot moves over here to seat 7.
Okay, so my question for you, are you coming back here to play the main event? World Poker Tour main event after Scottsdale?
I'm going to come back. I may or may not play the event depending on how things go in the
But when you come back, I'd love to get an Omaha 8 or better game down. Maybe you could play in it for a little bit. Maybe you could come in and do a little commentary.
I'd be glad to do that. In other words, designate one day for Omaha 8 or better. Now you can just try to play pot limit. It'd be tough to get people. You're going to play limit?
I don't think so. Not with the Legends here. The one thing that's great about August is we really have access to all the great players and all the great games. And with you in town, I'd love to be able to get you, because I do play Omaha 8 or better. But compared to you and compared to Bart, I'm very much of a novice in that game, and I'd love to get you guys going back and forth on some real great Omaha 8 or better
Okay,
hands.
what we'll do is we'll put it on quote the temporary schedule.
We'll pencil it in.
and we'll see what we can do. I'm expecting to come back on the Friday before the Legends final event, but I also have a couple of commitments. I was doing a couple radio shows during the World Series for another network, and it's possible that they're going to come here that week, and we may do some side interviews with players and promote the bike here a little bit more, and then not during the same time slot as this show is, so everybody who listens to this show will be here. And
so I'll count you in. We'll consider it a commitment.
Now,
Thank you.
Look at this. Mike has bet out here with a bluff. Barry has called.
Surprise.
Kenny Wynn folded Queen 9, and Alan checked 3/8 on the flop, and I assume he's going to raise now, and everyone is going to be done with it.
Of course. This is vintage Allen. Okay, I'm going to wait. Now I'll raise.
Look at Barry calling with the gut shot with a paired board.
Why would he raise? That's such a bad strategy in this kind of spot.
Wait a little longer. We might think you don't have anything.
He's going to make it 600 to go.
Why do you think it's a bad strategy? I'm curious to get inside your head.
Because you have the guy leading at it with no hand. Why give him the signal to throw his hand away?
Right, exactly. And if he does have the 8, if he does have an 8, the likelihood is, he might have you out-kicked. Although he could have 9-8 in this case, or he could have 10-8.
This in the long run is the worst play you can make. Is telling a bluffing opponent that you have a better hand than he does, because now his options are simply to move all in and try to completely drive you off, or fold his hand.
Right.
And a good player that's been getting away with dink and dive and dart is going to throw the hand away, and he's only going to lose $100. So it's. If you play the gambling hand and you get the good flop and you flop this, and I don't call that a set. He flopped.
He flopped trips, right?
He made trips, and so his hand's relatively deceived. You don't think the first thing to think of is the guy has the board paired. You think, well, maybe he's got the top card or a pair or an under pair or a flush draw. It's always tough to if you play poker thinking, oh, my opponent always has the nuts. Well, you can't win.
Right. Now, Bart and I, obviously, we're actually advocates for usually fast playing your hand, because usually when you fast play a big hand, sometimes that's the most deceptive thing, because people usually think that you would slow play a big hand.
Now look at this. Trish has flopped a straight, and Kenny is open-ended. We could see some fireworks here if Kenny maybe has a 10, and Kenny's going to raise on the come. He is going to raise, but Trish has the nuts right now. It's a total rainbow board here. And let's see if Trish comes back at him.
Now, what's the best way to play this? Might you call this and then bet again, lead right into one turn?
Depends how many players are in.
Yeah.
We're heads up.
That one's a 50-50 one. Now.
Turns a 6.
That's a scary card. Now, if he raised you with 2 pair, he's got you beat.
How about a set, too?
If he raised you with a set, he's got you beat.
Go ahead and lead out. Find out where you're at.
Exactly. You got it. Now, if he raises you again, what do you do at the 4-5? Now, let's say he makes it 1,400 now.
I'm too new to this player to know. And plus, I got to look at his stack. I have to look at his stack,
of course,
and see how many chips he's got.
Now, Kenny Wynn is a real tight, real solid professional. If he raises me again there, he's telling me, okay, I had 2 pair or a set right away, and now I got you beat. I got you nailed to the wall.
Right. That's a case of learning your players. But don't forget, when the board pairs 6s, and she was in the small blind for that hand, the other players are afraid.
Of course.
What did she have?
Right.
So this game, no limit hold'em, more than a limit game, is a game of fear. You have to make your opponents afraid of you.
Right. That's one of the reasons we point out that Mike there in seat number 2, the bald guy, he actually, one of the things that is the strongest part of his game is the fact that he puts the fear of God into his opponents.
And another thing he does, he puts his chair backwards and puts each of his knees into his opponent's legs. Now, we don't talk about that this much. No, that's
definitely an intimidation
That's
thing.
a great tactic. I see here we're on a set, the 3 of us. I can do that here, and all of a sudden you guys are wondering what I'm doing. Yeah. We talk about procedures and things, and poker's evolved so much the last 4, 8, 10 years. There's been rules and groups making rules and procedures. One of them is you have to sit forward in your seat. Now, it may sound like such a little thing, but you have each player aside you concerned because you keep poking them with your knees. Now, I'm not the one that believes in doing that kind of intimidation, such as, foul-mouthing somebody or even not necessarily foul language, but downgrading somebody. How could you play this?
Gil's got 2 pair, but how hard can he play that 2 pair?
Turn 2 pair, but Trish checks behind him, and the river is a 4, and Gil is filled up now. And I think you overbet this, and you hope she made a flush, right?
Yeah, you hope she made a flush. You hope she calls you with a 6. Who knows?
Yeah. And he's going to bet, and he is going to take it down.
Well, that spot with the board, it's like an ace is the winning hand a lot of times.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Right.
But that's the kind of, actually, I'll give you a perfect example. You see that board there where it was 2, 3, 4, 5, and a double and a paired board.
Right.
And somebody will overbet the pot on the river, and I've seen players make the mistake of calling with just an ace. Where
Because they're on the wrong side of something.
they're just, I mean, well, and they're probably right. I mean, they might get it. They might chop it up half the time. The other half the time, the guy's got a full house.
All they can beat's a bluff.
Exactly.
Right. All they can beat is Queen 10.
Right, we're going to do one last hand with you here because I think we're going to have some people coming in, Surrender, and maybe a couple other people. It was really a pleasure for you to...
I was glad to be here, and we're going to look at possibly having a Pot Limit Omaha game here in about 10 days.
That would be
when
great.
I come back, and it'll be something interesting for our viewers to watch.
I think it would be fabulous. Really would.
Now, Mo is raised here with Jack 10 of hearts. Gil is just called with pocket jacks here in seat 3. Kenny's in there with ace queen. And this is good. We're going to see the last hand here with Brent Carter, and this one's going to have some action here. Mo kind of made that stop raise, Dave. I mean, you wouldn't raise with aces to 70. You'd probably make it 200 with Jack 10 suited. He makes it 70.
When Mo makes it, like if Mo has aces or kings or queens or jacks, he's going to make it 150 or 140.
And look at Kenny Wynn with ace queen off suit. He senses the stop raise and the weakness behind him, and he's going to re-raise out of the blind with ace queen.
It's a nice play. I mean, Mo gives away a lot of information with his pre-flop raises.
And Gil calls with pocket jacks here.
It's one of the reasons why I really try to keep my raises the same. I mean, relatively speaking, depending on who's in the game.
I had that thought just before you say it.
Yeah.
And I've seen on some of the TV shows, we'll play this hand and we'll get this thought out at the same time.
Yeah, $800 pot here. Now, Gil's got the overpair, but again, against Kenny Wynn here, how hard can you play jacks? He's re-raised out of the big blind. The guy never plays a hand all night.
I got to tell you, Gil's going to check this now, and now Kenny has pot committed himself. And I got to tell you, I'm probably going to lead into Kenny and see where I'm at.
When Gil check calls, and this pot is quickly over $2,000. Oh, the turn's a queen, and Kenny's got the best of it.
And Gil is dead now. I mean, now Gil can't beat ace-queen. He can beat only ace-king, really. That's the only hand he can beat, is ace-king. But
And
I think
Kenny
Gil's,
isn't that deep, Gil isn't that deep. All the money's going to go in here, and this is going to be close to a $5,000 pot here.
And once again, that is not Gil's money. That's Franco's money.
And there is only one jack left. We know that Mo had jack 10, and it does not come. Kenny's going to take it down with ace-queen, a $5,000 pot. Well, what a great hand to end it here with Brent Carter. We want to do one other thing with you. If you can sign our board of prestigious players right behind you, that would be great here with this Sharpie.
Okay.
There you go. I'll grab this from
Prestigious. Boy, that makes me feel good.
yes, you have been deemed prestigious. Here, and I'm going to hold it for you.
Yeah, we got it.
Brent Carter, great poker player, been along for a long time. One of the top Omaha players out there. Thanks a lot, Brent.
Two-time bracelet winner.
Good luck to you. And hopefully we can get that thing to go next week.
Okay. And good night, gentlemen. And we'll have some other people in here in just a minute.
All right. Thanks a lot there from Brent Carter. I have to say, for this new setup that we have with the 3 hard mics, I think we're doing pretty well with the limited space that we have, the shuffling around and the microphones and getting some new guests in here and stuff. Funny thing about Dave is that he thinks he's too comfortable when he's in a swirly chair, swivel chair. He doesn't like it. He likes being in a hard chair. Dave likes it hard. Yep, there you go. 10-20 no limiter. Brown chips are $10 chips. Whites are hundreds. And Mike is going to raise it up here to 160 with Queen Jack off suit. In late position.
Yeah, 2,000 white.
Gil is playing 2,000 behind here. And Allen's in there with Jack 10, and Mike has him dominated. Here we go to the flop. Well, ace, deuce, 4, probably just a check fold here from Allen. Again, Surrender has just played really, really tight over there in seat number 9. Allen has checked, and Mike is going to bet. And that is probably going to do it here. And it does.
Can't get a call, huh?
And Mike takes it down. So Surrender bought in for $2,600 total, beginning of the night, and I think he's just about even. Just really grinding it out here. We got a couple of tight players on the table, obviously. Kenny Wynn, Surrender Sunar. Mo, who, he'll sometimes mix it up. I think this is the game that Mo is he's most comfortable in. Again, I want to point everybody to the video blog this week where I kind of duped Dave into analyzing the hand between Gus Hansen and Daniel Negreanu on High Stakes Poker this week. And Mo's going to raise it up there with 10-7 of hearts. Makes it 120 to go, and he is going to take it down. And I got to tell you, I mean, Dave and I, we really, our minds are kind of alike about how to play hands in deep stack no limit, and I pretty much agree with everything that he said. If we didn't know it was the players and we didn't know certain situations, I thought that Negreanu almost played the hand as bad, if not worse, than I thought Gus Hansen's check on the river was, because of the fact that you are so deep that he's only calling on the turn with his full house. And he doesn't give, and as David pointed out in the video blog, it doesn't get you the opportunity to get the money. And the only reason why the money went in is because there was a check raise all in on the river. That's the only reason why all the money got in there. Mo's got pocket aces. He raised it with 7-10 of hearts last hand. This time he's going to limp with aces.
See, I just don't understand, Mo. I swear I don't understand it.
Yeah.
You raised last time. Raise again this time. Make it look
Right.
like you're a maniac.
Right.
Why not?
And he's not going to get the limp re-raise. He did it once before, Dave. And look at this. He's got top set. King, Jack, Ace, but this is not necessarily a flop that he can check, right?
No, I mean, why would you check it?
And Barry...
Let a 10 or a queen come off and now your hand's dead?
Barry's going to bet 100 here. And Mo is going to raise. He's going to mini raise it to 200 here. Well, I got to tell you, if I have a diamond draw with one of a straight draw of a queen or a 10, I'm going to stick in there with
not
that
even a
little
question.
raise.
And there's the diamond. But unfortunately, I mean, Barry's got nothing here.
And now Barry's going to come out and bet. And Mo's going to call.
And you wonder if Barry bets 1,000 on the river. The pot's about $1,000.
The river
is
7, and Barry's got 2 pair. But remember, though, there are 3 diamonds out there. But this just means that
there's 3 diamonds. There's also like a lot of cards that would be 2 pair.
Barry's going to bet, and I assume Mo is just going to call here. Yeah, he does. Does Barry even know he made 2 pair? He said Jack. He doesn't know he made 2 pair.
Then why would you bet 500?
He does not know he made 2 pair there. He said Jack.
Why
Unless he was trying to slow roll Mo.
But why would you bet 500 then in the river? What, you thought you might get a king or an ace off? I mean, let me ask you, what's the value of betting 500 in the river? Are you going to get a hand that is worse than Jack 7 to call you? Now, if you don't know, let's say you don't have 2 pair. Because he doesn't know he has 2 pair.
Well, does the 7 change anything with your river bet? A river check or a river bet? Now that you have 2 pair, Jack's up.
Well, of course it does. If the guy has, let's say, Mo was calling me with a weak ace.
Right.
Something like that, of course. I mean, now I have 2 pair. I don't think the 7 helped him.
Again, I'm sure Barry will give me hell if I was wrong, but it did not seem that Barry realized that he had 2 pair there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of those little $500 bets in the river anyway. I'm like, if you think you got the best hand, bet 1,000. If you think you got a bluff, bet 1,000. Bet the pot. Come on.
We're going to take a look at a chip count here. Here we go. 45,000 on the table. Again, it's kind of come in a quiet night here so far, Dave. Surrender, he's just poking along. Hasn't played many hands. Take a look at the differences. I can tell you, Kenny's probably one of the big winners here.
Well, after that big suck out.
Yeah.
Oh, Mike's up $6,000. Look at that.
Quietly.
After giving $2,500 away to Mo right away, Kenny at $2,300, Jeff there. And look at Surrender. You know what? We haven't heard from him all night. He's even now. All he needs to do is win 1 pot, and he's making money.
Yep. Barry hit an ace here. Ace, Jack 5 on the flop. He raises the pre-flop.
Are we actually going to get Surrender in here? I'm not sure what we're going to ask him. Are we going to ask him how he played?
I don't know. We're going to have to play that by ear. Maybe wait for our Evelyn to come back and make that decision. I got to tell you, though, it was very interesting. I always loved talking with that guy on the table.
Yeah,
He's
he's an
talked with me
interesting
a
guy.
lot.
Sorry, I talked to Zeroff. I didn't let you get a word in there.
All right, yeah.
When he said sports betting, I was like,
ooh,
wow.
Yeah.
Because you rarely find somebody that's actually admits to, oh, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a sports bettor. That's how I make my money. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm curious. I'll bite.
But it's interesting, and it's true what he says is that, I mean, what he said was he plays the Omaha High-Low game. It really is the game of probably the least variance of any of these, say, more
You already said he can't
poker
go
games
if
that you
he's
can find
playing
in a
well.
casino. Yeah.
He said if he's playing well, rarely can he go 4 days in a row and lose.
Right.
Wow.
King 6-10 here with a couple of hearts. Was limped around.
Well,
King
2
10
pair here for Alan.
Yeah.
On the button. I think
And
you
he
have
checks
to bet it.
He checks it. And now he fills up.
Well, okay.
Now, do you have to put some money in there at some point?
At some point, you'd think
Yeah.
you would. Is anybody going to bet? Alan, is Barry going to
Well,
take a
now
shot?
Barry's
Barry's
gonna
going to take
bet.
a shot. He's got a gut shot.
And Alan's going to raise him.
See, Alan's got to pay attention to the fact. Alan's got to pay attention to the fact that Mike is not in the hand.
Right, right.
See, if Mike is in the hand, you can check at one time because Mike might fire at it.
Right.
But Mike's not in the hand, so there's nobody really in there that's going to be the aggressor. And I got to tell you,
Did
you know
Barry
what?
call him and the river was a jack there?
Yes.
The river, Barry called and the river was a jack, and then Barry just check folded.
How do you call that?
I don't know. It looked.
I mean, if the queen comes off, is Barry going to double Alan up?
Is that George there in the background with the Guinness shirt?
Of course it is.
Greek poker god.
Yeah.
George Giorgio.
That's funny. Most people think George is gay, but he's not.
Do they?
Yeah.
I never thought George was gay.
Really? Yeah, most people do.
Like, because he was English, you mean?
No.
Just because he was skinny,
Because he
you
was
mean?
English? I know. What is that? What do you mean because he's English?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out why do most people think George is gay?
Well, look at him.
Just because the way he looks, because he's skinny?
No, it's just the way he looks. It's nothing to do with being skinny either. He's skinny English and he's
He
got a
just
lisp.
looks gay.
All I'm saying is that people thought he was gay. Okay, you look at
I'm
him.
trying to defend him. I mean, you
No.
keep saying I'm stereotyping stuff. You just think he looks gay, so I'm trying to
No, I'm just
break
saying
that
people
apart.
thought he was gay.
Okay.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
never thought he was gay.
I'm just putting it out there.
Live straddle here by Mike.
I mean, all those nicknames.
Maybe that was it. The
I don't
nicknames.
know, hey.
And Mike is going to raise here out of the straddle with Jack 3 of diamonds.
There's an 80% chance that Alan called.
And Mike says there's an 80% chance that Alan calls. Oh, and Alan folds the weak ace.
Once again, we are live at the bike. Lines are 10 and 20 in this game. This is an unrestricted, no-limit hold'em game. I'm David Tuckman, here with Bart Hanson. You can catch us every Monday through Friday from 7 to 10 Pacific time. If you like the show, tell your friends about it. If you hate the show, tell your friends about it.
Again, in programming note, on Sunday we are going to be streaming the final table of the ladies' event starting at noontime here. We are not having a show on Monday, and Sunday's broadcast will be totally free to even non-archive subscribers. And I think that we did that.
Those freeloaders, huh?
Yeah, for an opportunity for the people's families of those people on the table to watch it.
Freeloaders.
Well, you can definitely say that now because everyone listening is an archive subscriber. So there you go.
I can say whatever. When the hell do I ever mind who I offend?
I don't have much in my mind.
Got a raise here by Barry. Makes it 110 to go.
This is dangerous. I'm on medicine, and I'm supposed to take 4 a day, and I've really forgotten if I've taken 2, 3, or 4.
Like I said, since you ripped me about looking at your medicine bottle a couple days ago, I haven't really paid attention.
I just forgotten if I've taken 3 or 4 or 2. I don't even know. I guess I could take one more, and just 5 won't kill me, will it?
Barry raised with Ace King 10.
Mike's flopped a set of
Yeah,
5s.
yep. He's got bottom set. Unfortunately for him, though, no one has
Yeah,
anything.
that doesn't mean anything. Barry's got a big hand for him. He's not going to go anywhere. He's got Ace King.
Really, if Mike check raises here, Barry's going to continue on with Ace King?
Let's see. Would it shock you if Barry called?
And look at this, Barry min check raises, and Barry is Mike min check raises, and Barry beats him in the pot with Ace King.
There you go.
Oh, the turn's a queen, and now Barry's picks up a straight draw, and Mike bets out again here.
Now, obviously, if a jack were to come, there's not much value.
Wow. And Barry calls this pot is quickly $1,700. Here we go to the river, and the river's a 7.
That's what I was saying. What, it shocks you that Barry would get involved with Ace King?
And actually, it wasn't. And Mike is going to bet 1,000 there because it looked like Barry checked, but Barry's in position though. That's kind of really. And look at this, Mike is showing Barry one card, but that's going to do it there with the 5.
Yeah, that
Mike
was a
doesn't
mistake.
know Barry has nothing. Yeah.
And look at that. Barry's like, I can't beat the 1-5.
Yeah.
That's funny. That is actually absolutely funny there. Mike made the mistake there of showing one card. That's hysterical. Is there any chance Barry calls with Ace King there?
Well, after Mike showed him the 5.
No. Before.
After Mike showed him
If
the
Mike
5.
doesn't show him anything.
I don't know. I mean, we've seen him do it before.
Yeah.
I remember one episode when he called with Ace King high.
I mean, sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and ace-king seems like the best hand. In that case, though, Mike was raising right from the start, pushing ahead, and Barry just figured out a way to lose $1,000 with that hand.
Now,
You realize Barry's going to... The funny thing is that, we know Barry will go back and watch the show, and we will get an email tomorrow telling us what assholes we are.
Right.
And that he would hope that we'll never commentate on him again.
Right.
Until next week when he's on the show again. And I say it with all love, man. I swear to God, I love the guy. I do. There's just some of the plays he makes just make no sense to me.
Now, Gil is raised with ace-queen, and Jeff is called with the dominated queen. Big blind against straddle.
Well, how about...
Open-ended straight draw here for Gil to the nuts to the king, and Jeff's got a pair with the same open-ended straight draw.
Well, he's not the same open-ended, though. Because if a king were to come off...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Gil has...
that's what you mean.
Yeah. Now, a real great card here for Gil would be the king.
Oh, a king would be golden.
Here we go to the turn. Turn's a 5, and Jeff is still in the lead with queen 9.
Yeah. Gil needs an ace, a king, or an 8 to chop it up.
And Gil check calls here. This pot is quickly $1,800. And the river is a jack, and Gil has missed.
And Jeff's going to win this year with queen 9.
Go check.
And you notice how players with marginal hands, they don't usually bet for value. And true to form, Jeff does not bet the river there with queen 9 because he doesn't have to. And once again, Gil is playing over Franco, and apparently he's playing with Franco's money.
He lost Franco's money though, and then he put some more money on.
So I guess he's lost Franco's money, and he's in there with his own money.
Yeah.
Now Gil is a phenomenal tournament player. He really is. I was sweating him. He came in 70th place in the World Series of Poker main event, and I was sweating him. Really, just a couple of hands away from the real big money. I think he won about $67,000 or $70,000. Congratulations to Gil. Such a fine line between being a household name and being whatever. He outlasts 8,700 people, but can't get through the last 70. But I noticed him right away. He had a lot of chips right away from day one, and I never really slowed down until like the last couple of days. He just couldn't make that hump. He was at like 300,000 chips and could never really get up to 600,000 or 700,000.
Trish just flopped a set here. Wow, ace, queen, 7. 2 people have aces here. And Barry's going to come out and bet. Let's see how Trish is going to play. There's 2 hearts.
If Barry bets, I'm going to raise right away here. I'm hoping that he's got the ace. Put some pressure on it, start building up a pot right away. Remember, I don't want to scare him out, though.
Maybe make it 250 to go.
What was the bet?
80.
80? Yeah, you can make it 200 even.
Yeah, he's going to raise. She's going to raise. I think she
makes
raised
it
100, and Barry called. Oh, the worst card for Barry would be a 5 or an ace here. Here we go to the turn. Barry instantly called there. Yeah, Barry beat her into the pot with the call. She never even saw him call.
Yeah.
Here we go to the turn. Turn to king.
Well, that's one more hand she can't beat. I mean, there's not much he can beat here with ace-5. But you don't want to scare him out here. Well, look at he's got this money in his hand, which means I don't want you to bet. Doesn't that mean that? Is that something that's not a physical tell?
Yeah. She bets 500 here. And I'm rooting for Barry to lay this one down. Come on,
I think
Trish.
It's a very easy lay down.
Barry
really
can
is.
make this lay down. And he calls.
Yeah, against Trish, I think this is a very easy lay down. You can't even beat a real ace.
Here we go to the river. And the river's a deuce.
And
wow.
now you can't beat hearts.
Is he going to try to represent hearts, though?
Remember, you can't beat hearts. No,
well,
checked to
he
her.
checked, and she bet again. And this is the type of situation that happens with Mike in there. If Mike was in Barry's spot against Trish, and say Trish wasn't his mom, some other player, and Barry makes the call anyways here, and he ends up losing about $25 or $2,000 or $2,500 there with ace-5.
I'm sorry. Can you leave that board on for 1 second, Ronnie? I'm sorry. I love Barry, but are you kidding me? How can you possibly defend this? Okay, Trish raised you right on the flop. Okay, what might she have? A heart draw or a bigger ace than you, right? Or a set or 2 pair. Okay, none of which you can beat except the heart draw. Well, now the king comes off. Okay, changes nothing really. And now the heart comes. So now you can't beat the heart draw. You can't beat the set that she was representing. You can't beat a big ace. What do you think she was raising with and betting the entire way? Well, just nothing?
The other thing I was going to say, though, on the
Thank you very much.
If you can leave that...
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
What I was going to say on the river, though, is that's when Mike gets involved with calls there on the river, because when he checks you and you have a set and it's a third heart, and you bet the river, he doesn't understand why you're betting.
Right,
because a lot of people would check because
right.
of the heart, and then he ends up making a call with a very marginal hand.
And it's fine if Mike is making honestly, if Barry makes that call against Mike, hey, all the power to you. Because Mike could have nothing.
Right.
but it's Trish.
Now, we had a raise here. Was it by Barry again here? Ace-10 of clubs.
I mean, I just don't understand. What did he put her on? What do you think she had? Right? I mean, am I crazy? Am I completely off my gourd?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, what
mean,
could she have? What? Oh, she had pocket sixes. She was just screwing around.
Now, Barry has kind of turned a little gun-shy in this hand. He checks, and he's going to check call. He's got the best hand, though, with ace-10. But again, he check calls Trish. Very little information. Turns a deuce.
Now, that was different. Now, last hand he bet,
Right.
and Trish raised him.
And
this
now
is he
he's
checked
going to
into
lead
her.
the turn.
Right, and she's probably going to throw it away. Now, if she were to raise him here, you pretty much know that your hand is no good. It's a nice bet here. It's a nice check call by Barry, and then a lead into it. I like the play.
Trish very rarely will make a move, and when she's betting it, she usually has it. Like you said, there's just nothing ace-5 can beat on that last
There's
hand.
nothing. I mean, Trish will make moves. Trish is a very good, aggressive player. But you notice, I don't mind that passive play there, ace-10. He kept the pot small, he check-called, and then let out. I really like that play on that hand by Barry. I really do. But the last hand was just, I mean, absolutely atrocious. You talk about just giving away pretty much, what, $1,500.
Yeah, you have $1,500 to $2,000.
You know, and you start talking about it at the end of the night when you realize and you look at it and you go, God, I'm up 1,000 or I'm down 1,000, and you start thinking about where you make a mistake, where's the leak in your game. Well, there's $1,500 that should still be in your pocket.
That's all that matters. You're a winner in my book, bud. That's right.
Jeff here is on the button with ace-king.
He's still here.
Well, Surrender is gonna again. You know, the only thing I'm a little confused about Surrender is his pre-flop raises are so small. He's gonna make it 70. Mike calls.
See, no, I don't mind that though, because what he's doing is he's getting some information. He realizes whether he makes it 70 or 110, Mike's going to call no matter what. He knows this by now.
Wow,
What
he's
he's
got
doing
ace king, ace queen, and ace jack in the hand. And again, Kenny's got ace queen. We already have a re-raise. I was gonna say, is Kenny gonna re-raise here again with ace queen?
He gets a little bit of information, and now he realizes, okay, my ace jack is garbage. Now it is suited.
Excuse me, we did not have a re-raise. Just a call by everyone.
Okay.
Queen 10-8 with a couple of clubs.
Now Surrender's actually, he has a double gutter here. He can catch a 9 for the straight or a king for the nuts.
Mike bets out with jack 10 here.
And what is Kenny going to do here?
Well,
Did Kenny check it? He did.
yeah, he did.
Surprised Surrender did not bet there.
And look
He's a
at this-
pre-flop raiser. He is double gutted.
Boy, Jeff has called with ace king with the ace of clubs, and now Kenny's trying to figure out. Kenny is called, and Barry is called with king 10. Wow.
And you wonder, can Surrender be in there? You don't really want to be going for straights with two flushes out there, but all that action in there, he's getting like 8-1 on his money. Maybe he throws in a couple $100. Obviously thinking of what to do here.
Well, maybe he tries to hit that offsuit straight card. This pot is quickly $1,400.
Yeah, the king would be his gin card. No, it's not going to do it, though. Seven's no help.
And Mike is still in the lead here with jack 10, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, excuse me, Kenny is in the lead with ace queen still.
Now, Barry has picked up
Diamonds.
the diamond draw, exactly. Nobody has clubs.
I wonder if Barry's going to come out and bet here. I've seen
Barry,
him do it before.
I got to tell you, it's not a bad play. If you're Barry here and you bet $800, this might check around.
Time.
Well, let's see what Mike is going to do. He's trying to figure out, should I bet? You wonder, what is Kenny... Anytime Kenny wins in the hand, I got to say, what the hell is he calling with up there from up front?
Yeah, I mean, you know Kenny Wynn's got to have a queen here. He's got to have
Well,
a
he
big
could have
club.
clubs, though, yeah.
One of the two.
Yeah.
I'm not a betting dummy. Well, we all know you're going to bet, so...
If Mike does check, you'd imagine that Jeff is also going to take a card.
Kenny's got to dodge so many cards here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Man.
As you can see, he's only 59% with one card to come.
I mean, it can't be a diamond, it can't be a king, it can't be a 9.
Checked around, and the river's a queen. Well, now that's probably one of the best cards, obviously, that Kenny can be comfortable
I got to
with.
tell you, I probably check it one more time if I'm Kenny.
Really?
I do. I probably check it one more time. And,
Why would you check this one more time?
I mean, there's a lot of different ways. You can bet it. You got to remember, though, if I'm Kenny Wynn, I probably check
Oh,
it.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
If I'm David Tuckman, I bet it.
Right.
Because I might get a call.
Now, is Barry...
If I'm Mike, I might bet
Now,
it.
how about this? Here's another... Is Barry going to call here with middle pair, 3 people behind him, Kenny Wynn betting the river here?
I mean, to me, it's really obvious. I got to tell you, if Kenny Wynn bets that river to me,
Yeah.
he was calling the entire way with ace queen.
Absolutely. And Barry makes a nice laydown.
And that's the reason. The only way Kenny Wynn makes any money on this is somebody bluffs at it.
Now, can Mike get away from jack 10 here?
Well, I mean, if he's paying attention, he can. Surrender, obviously,
It's an $800 bet here by Kenny Wynn. Yeah, and Mike says... Actually, it was only a $400 bet. Kenny bet real small there. And Mike calls.
Well, Well, and to me, it just can't be a bluff. Remember, what does Kenny win? Think about it. It's a $400 bet into a $1,000 pot on a river when the top card pairs, and you're betting into 4 players. How can that be a bluff? There's no way that's a bluff. No, I think you were me. I think I definitely bet that. I don't know. I was surprised Kenny Wynn got a call at all.
It's a really tough spot to be in there with ace queen on such a draw-heavy board.
No, it definitely really is. Obviously, the queen is one of the only safe cards out there.
I mean, because the bet was so small, I think you can call and see what happens on the turn.
And they got checked around, so it was easy.
I think that you might even make a case where you actually could check fold there on the flop with that many people in there. It's a little bit tight passive. But
I hate checking and then folding. I mean,
ace jack 9 here with a couple of clubs. Looks like Jeff has got a weak ace here in seat 4.
Yeah, Barry's got third pair, sorry. And I think he's going to take it down. You just got to realize, obviously, when I say something in the sense of what this player should do, I'm thinking of what that specific player should do.
Right, you know, the more and more we do this commentary, obviously, the more and more we learn about the players. I think we've come to a general consensus that with some people, like a Kenny Wynn, like a Joe Wynn, who's never played in the show, but he was in the commentary booth.
Right.
I mean, they're checking everything because whenever they bet, everyone gets out of there. They almost have to trap. They almost have to check raise.
Well, if Joe Wynn ever bets into a pot, are you calling unless you've got a draw to the nuts or the nuts already? I mean, there's no.
Although I got to tell you though, if he bets into the pot, I know he doesn't have a big hand though.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
Generally speaking.
Yeah.
70.
Generally speaking, he will smooth call or he'll just check and try to trap you.
Right.
But the way Kenny played that hand, I think it was pretty apparent that he had at least king, queen, maybe ace, queen.
Look at this. Surrender is raised here to 70. Trish has made it 170. Even though it's 100, well, Surrender makes the call. Ace, queen out of position. Is he going to get in trouble? Wow, queen, jack 10.
Well,
how do you continue on here with ace, queen?
I got to tell you, if you're kings here, do you love that flop? Remember, you can't beat ace, king right now. And you can't beat a set of queens. You can't beat a set of jacks. You can't beat a set of tens. Remember, I mean, that's not that great a flop for kings. Now, remember, you are open-ended if by some chance you are behind. The only hand that you really can get action from that you're still beating is ace-queen.
And he is going to min raise here.
Yeah, and to me, I mean, how he could easily have been in there with a set of tens here or a set of jacks.
But even if you're up against those hands, though, Dave, you are open-ended. You
can't
just fold here for $300 check raise.
I agree with you, but you've got to be aware, though, if a lot of, I mean, let's say the turn's a deuce, and this guy bets like 1,000. You know, are you ready to keep? Are you going to go the whole way with kings?
It would be worse for me if I had a set of tens here and I was min check raise with kings. I think you can definitely continue on. The turn is a jack.
Check. One more hand you can't beat. Wow.
And Surrender checks now. And now Trish is going to come out and bet. Wow. She bets 800. I don't know. Does she think she have the...
I got to tell you, it's one thing that's a little out of character for Trish. She bet really quick there, like she knew she had the best hand. Maybe she's got a read on Surrender. Because you wonder, is there any way he's in there with a set of queens or a set of tens, and he goes, oh, wow, I made my full house. Let me check it one time, see what happens.
Well, I'm always in the head. Does Trish think she's betting the best hand right now?
Well, she has to. She's not going to bet him off of a set of tens or a set of queens.
There's no possibility that the guy has ace-king here? I know you have 2 kings in your hand.
And you think he's just going to throw away ace-king?
No, but what I'm saying is he checked the turn. I'm asking, by Trish betting there, she's 100% positive she has ace-king?
I think so.
I'll put it have ace-king?
I'll put it away. If she thinks he has ace-king and she's betting, she's an idiot. And I know she's not an idiot.
Yeah, but you just said the possibilities of having queens a set there.
I understand what you're saying, but you're trying to get somebody off the nut straight.
No, I'm not. He's not trying to get him off the nut. She's not trying to get him off. What I'm saying is she trying to bet there to represent a full house?
Okay, so you're trying. If she's doing that, then that means she's trying to get him off of a better hand than kings, which would be ace-king or a full house.
So what does she think that he has? Ace-queen specifically?
I think so. I have to assume, right?
Well, we'll ask her.
I mean, that's my guess. Which I mean, do you really think she's trying? Do you think she's trying to bet him off ace-king? That's the question.
That was my question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't. I mean, I think that's somewhat suicide. I can't.
How about aces? Can't aces beat her as well?
I don't. That's an odd way to play aces. He could have aces, I suppose, but he played it real passive if he had aces. I mean, really passive if he had aces.
King deuce 4.
That's the only hand that would make sense if she put him on specifically pocket aces and said maybe I can get him off that hand. But that's a.
Alan bets 120.
That's one specific hand that maybe you can get him off.
got a jack. Show us your jack.
It's one of the reasons I was surprised she bet so quickly. Didn't seem like she put much thought into it.
That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to figure out. I mean, aces is a tough spot for Surrender to be in there. If he check raises the flop, she calls, and then she bets so quickly there on the turn.
I got to tell you, on that flop, specifically that flop where it's Queen, Jack, 10, and the turn is a Jack, if I have kings, if I think I'm behind, I'm probably going to take the free card.
Right.
I mean, it just doesn't make it. Because I got to think that anything that's got me beat there, I'm in a lot of trouble.
Problem is there, you might get involved if you hit your straight there at the end when the guy had filled up on the turn.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, maybe she was betting to find out where she was at. And if she got raised, she was going to throw it away. That could have been a thing, too. Who knows?
Barry's going to raise here. He's got...
Maybe she didn't want to check it and have to face a big $1,000 bet on the river.
He's got 9-5 of hearts here. Made it 240 to go. Gil is going to call here with a suited ace-8 of spades. And we are heads up.
It's funny, sometimes we get these great names on the show like Surinder. And you have to understand that, obviously, this guy does it for a living. He's not going to get on the show and just donk it up for you, right?
Barry's out flop Gil here, Jack 9-3.
And you imagine Barry's going to bet. Now, this is part of Barry's game that I really do love. Very aggressive post-flop when he thinks he's got the best of it. And he's got position. He knows how to use his position.
It's so interesting to know because I think Gil is a good player. Obviously, he's relatively new to no-limit cash games.
Right.
Because he actually comes out and asks our opinion a lot about how he does. Does he realize that making a call there out of position with ace-8 of spades against, like, Barry is definitely going to be long-term negative EV?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird how he talks about that. Because one time I asked him, I said, I'm not going to call a raise and a re-raise with, like, ace-5.
Right,
and he goes, well, I know if I hit my ace, I'm good. I go,
yeah.
So you're calling for 3 outs? I just don't understand that.
Well, how does he know if he hits his ace?
I don't know. That's what he said. But even if you know you hit your ace, so? I go,
70.
So you're calling for 3 outs? And if you hit your ace, you're going to get any action. Because if you know it's good, then everybody else sees the ace. It's not like they're blind. Yeah, sometimes it's strange.
Mo's going to put a little pot builder raise in here with Jack 9 of clubs. Made it 80 to go, and we're going to see four-way action.
Wow,
here.
Nice flop for Jack 9 of clubs, huh?
Yeah. Got overs and a club draw. Now Barry's got a gut shot here to the 8. And look at this, Jeff has flopped a straight. And how can you not slow play this flop? Look at this, he's got 4-5 right now. It's the nuts now. But as you can see, he's only 55% to win the hand against the rest of the field here.
Yeah. Well,
and he just check calls. Wow. Just a check call with 4-5 of diamonds. And again, this is another thing, just an example that it's not necessarily that a card will kill you, even though in this case it will. An 8 or a club will kill him. What if a club comes and it kills all your action against an overpair? Well, the turn is a 9. Barry and Mo both pick up top pair. And I guess Jeff is just going for the check raise. And he got lucky that the turn was a relative blank.
Now Barry's going to bet 400. Mo is going to raise it, and you know what?
Oh, wow.
Jeff makes us look stupid.
Right. He got really lucky, though, with what came out.
All in. Push forward with him.
And Jeff's going to move all in.
Yeah.
Jeff moves all in. Barry folds, and now Mo goes, oh, shit. I walked into a set, or I walked into straight.
Well, this is the problem, though. If you're Mo, you wonder, obviously we're privy to seeing the cards. Was this a mistake here for him to raise the turn, maybe not taking into account what Jeff might have had over there?
Well, that was the problem.
Because he only had one pair there, Dave. Is that a hand that you can raise the turn with Jack 9 of clubs?
You know what? You can. I mean, I like the aggressive play by Mo. I'm a big fan of being aggressive.
Right.
I think in this case, though, he overlooked the third player in the pot. He said, oh, Barry's betting. Barry's got crap. I'm going to raise him here.
Well, Mo's trying to figure out some pot odds. It's a little bit difficult for me to figure out right now. He made it 1,500. Jeff called. There was already about 1,000 in there. How much more is it here from Jeff?
How much more does Jeff have? I don't think he has much more, does he?
It's got to be at least over a $5,000 pot. How much is the bet size?
What has Jeff got, like 1,000 left?
1,300. Wow.
So it's 1,300 to win, like, I bet a $5,500 pot.
Yeah.
$5,200 pot, maybe.
Well, with the club draw, with one card to come, with no implied odds, can you make the call? I think, well,
he's a 4-to-1 dog.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's real close.
Real close. I mean, $1,300 to win about a $5,200 pot.
Well, the
You're
other thing you
got
to understand, though, is you have to take into account, does this guy have a set? Because obviously a couple more of your outs are not there.
Right. If he has a set, the 3 of clubs is no good.
Right.
The 9 of clubs is in my hand, so I'm not worried about that. And he's going to call this pot is quickly about $6,500. right? 6,500.
Yeah. And I think they're just going to run it one time. Mo needs a club. It does not come.
And Jeff is going to double through there. And
I just cannot believe how
I gotta tell
lucky Jeff got with what happened in the action.
You know what, though? Honestly, though, if Jeff comes out and bets his straight right away, Barry's going to call, Mo is going to raise, okay? At that point, maybe you smooth call it, right?
Right.
Barry calls behind you. Now the turn, you lead out again, right? Now you probably get a call from Barry, then you get the raise anyway. I'm not sure if anything changes.
No, but what I'm saying is
But
that
yes, he got lucky.
He really did get lucky there.
Because the 9 in the river,
Yeah.
the 9 in the turn obviously
Yeah.
really gave it to him. And I love it. You know, you see that, and he'll continue to slow play. And I love that.
Got about, maybe 10, 15 minutes left in the show. Again, when we say goodbye, it won't be good. Have a good weekend, because we'll be back here on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't even want my weekend off. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to stay here. Who wants Sundays off? Now, luckily for the casino, NFL has not started yet. Because if this was like 3 weeks from now, I'd be balking. God, I mean, if I can't watch my Jets lose on a Sunday, what the hell is good about a weekend?
Trish raised it up here to 120 on the button with King Queen. Ace 5 deuce here. Well, Surrender's got a middle pair and a gut shot. Looks like he's got the best hand. And he checked it. Well, the ace is out there. Trish is going to bet.
I got to assume that Surrender plays it a little bit looser in the tournament.
Well, you would think so.
Now you got to remember, in a no-limit cash game, though, you got to realize that time is your your ally. You don't have to win. Remember, right now, Surrender's even. One pot, he's up $2,000, and that makes his whole night. And he knows that. He understands that. He's in here for the grind. He's disciplined. He's patient. He's not in a rush. He's certainly not here to impress us or you guys at home, unfortunately.
Now, the issue here is, can you call? Well, he's going to check raise.
Yeah.
I don't like to check call, Dave, but can you call, and then if she doesn't have an ace, you're going to
He's
get a
moving
card
all
on
in.
the turn? Wow. Well, she's got nothing, so it's going to work.
Well, he's moving in here. He goes, you know what? Even if she has an ace, I got a pair, I got a gut shot, I got a 2-pair draw.
Yeah. Two, got 5, 9 outs. It's almost
You gotta
like doing
to
it with
play.
a flush draw.
Even if she had, say, ace-jack, it's a really, really tough call for her.
Yeah. Button moves over here to seat 2 to Corporation Mike.
Small blind 10, big blind 20. Kenny Wynn is under the gun. Speaking of under the gun, apparently in 5 minutes my blog will be updated. You can check on the left-hand side of the screen, Under the Gun with David Tuckman.
Wow, it's amazing how you have to fight to get that thing updated.
Well, it's not very. I mean, it's really, that's like my mom and my sister read it, and that's pretty much it. So, and apparently Ray reads it, man. Thanks for the love, buddy.
She does have an ace. She has 9 out.
Three-way action here. Mo in there with King Queen, just limped around. Wow, Gills flop trip 8s. Well, Jeff's got a gut shot here to the 5. Checked around, and look at that, the 5 comes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And it is just not Gil's night. It is not Gil's night.
Gil bets, and Jeff is just gonna call.
Let's keep the pot as small as possible.
Yeah, and the river's a deuce. Unbelievable. Well, Gil doesn't have a full house when he gets raised here, or is Jeff playing conservatively? He's not going to raise. He just called. Jeff was, I guess he was scared of the full house. He never raised.
Might have a boat. I mean, I know you got names.
He said he might have a vote.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's not a terrible way to play this game sometimes. Sometimes you got to realize that if you do raise a good player there, can you be called by just an 8? I'd like to say probably yes, but you never know.
Straight. I mean, come on. That's awesome.
Got about 15 minutes left in tonight's show.
Yeah, you usually said 4. Make some time.
Button moves over. Are you going to have some sushi again tonight?
Nah, I don't
No?
think so.
Too much of a good thing.
Yeah, maybe miso. I like the miso.
The miso soup over there is much better than what they serve.
I'm all
before.
over the miso.
I am getting hungry. I think I'm going to have some sushi.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you asking me out on a date?
I'm heading over there. I know, after the show, you're on the phone with like 15 different people. I'm not waiting. I'm hungry.
I'm an important person, you know what I
I
mean?
mean, by the time you get over there, it'll be midnight.
I got people to talk to.
It is 160.
So I know why you win it in the past match.
I mean, every time I see you now, like since you've been back from Vegas, you're on the phone or you're texting, and
I've got business deals working.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
buddy. I'm sorry.
3 players.
Got a lot of stuff in the works.
Three-way action here.
Hey, I'm looking after your ass. Okay.
Okay.
As you sit here and just go on, keep playing poker as I look after your ass. That's all I'm here for. Okay?
Alan's got top pair here. He checked it. Mike's gonna bet. And now Alan today's been check raising here. Is he gonna check call or check raise? Normal Alan is just a check call.
I got to tell you, I would probably check call this and then lead in the turn. But hey,
Turn to 10.
and Mike is needing an ace or a jack here. He is in really bad shape. Actually, I'm sorry, just an ace because the jack is shared.
Alan checks again. Well, Mike's looking at that board. There isn't a whole lot of draws. Maybe he would bet again if it was flush.
No, it's clear Alan's
Yeah,
got something, and
yeah.
you see that's the problem. Alan, give him the free card.
The river's a king, and now can Mike bluff at it though with the king?
Yeah, you wonder.
Because if, well, you
Yeah,
know
but
what? Mike
Mike-
shut down there. You wonder.
Mike doesn't like to bluff Alan. He knows I don't bluff Alan.
Yeah, but would Alan have called with an 8?
My ace king, and now you have jack 8 against
I think yes. I don't know. Who knows? But, I mean, Alan, I just don't bluff him. I don't try to.
Why can't you hit a jack? You lose all your chips with a jack. Jesus. Wow, you've been doing fine so far.
Apparently, full frontal means
Alan
bush
Funk
shot.
landed that way.
You ever know that?
Jack against Alan's jack.
No one has any idea what you're talking about unless you give it back.
Full frontal means bush shot.
Okay.
I don't think that needs any background.
Okay.
Does it?
We're gonna take a look at the final chip count of the night. 41,000 on the
Mike
table.
has really quietly amassed a lot of chips, hasn't he?
Yeah, we're getting word that Mo has actually bought him for 5,000 more, so there's 46,000. Let's take a look at the differences here.
70.
Yeah, 6,000 there.
I
Kenny
mean, really
30.
quietly, huh? Jeff up 2,200. Barry,
Barry's just been getting, he's just been getting killed here.
am I not watching the game? I mean, I guess we were talking a lot. I mean, was Barry losing a lot? Or was he just bleeding left and right?
You've seen it. How much did he bleed against Trish?
1,500. That's what I'm saying.
I think it was like
it's the only
25.
significant hand that I really was. I remember.
5-way action here. 7-3 deuce on the flop. Set of sevens here for Barry Woods.
Well, finally, Barry can get some money.
And look
back,
at this.
maybe?
He checked it. Mo's got an overpair.
Jesus Christ.
Let's see how Barry's going to play this. Now, the problem here is if Barry check calls here, I think Mo might check the turn, especially on this board.
No, I think you've got to build yourself a pot right now. Why not raise it right away?
But I'm saying in Barry check calls, and it would not surprise me here if
Yeah.
Mo checks the turn.
I mean,
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying.
Barry might bet the turn, though. Let's see what happens.
Turns a 10. Check. Well,
Mo might bet here, and if he gets called, shut down on the river.
and Barry moves all in.
And Barry's moving all in for about 1,500.
Well, the funny thing here is actually, I don't know if Barry took into account the fact that he was short, but the way that he played this hand is actually not all that bad on the
No,
short
he played
stack.
it fine. He
Yeah.
played it fine.
Yeah.
He played it fine, obviously.
Because he's trying to get the
Because
money
he's short,
in on the
right.
short stack. And
Now,
Mo,
if he had $6,000 or $7,000 and he's
Yeah.
trying to build himself a pot,
especially when Mo is 8,000 behind.
yeah.
Yeah.
When he trying to build a pot there, if you're $8,000 behind, he puts himself in a tough spot. Now, how much more is it? It's not much more.
Yeah, just 600,
600 more, and the pot is like 2,200, 2,500. 725. Yeah, Mo's going to call and needs an 8 and only an 8, it looks like.
Mo did call, and the river's a 4.
And Barry would have made that play with, say, ace-7, I think. I mean, he might have been frustrated enough to make that play with, say, a 7 and 2 clubs.
760.
And good for Barry. He's going to double up there. But obviously, yeah, when you are short-stacked, your betting patterns need to change. And Barry probably played that pretty well. I agree with you.
Sometimes, I almost automatically will say, well, again, he's not building himself a pot, but then we realize after the fact that with his stack size, and that's why I'm continuously telling people, because I see Crackhead here, Eric, a lot, and some other people. I had a guy approach me in the sushi bar, that people shouldn't get confused about the advice that we give is mainly for deep stacked when you're deep. And you've got to realize that when you're shorter in a restricted buying game, you have to figure out a way to get the money in, and it might be by slow playing.
That's
right?
the important, exactly.
Yeah.
More often than not, when you're playing against somebody who's either a little shorter than you or you're short, the most important thing is trying to figure out how am I going to get all of his money in this pot so I can get it all.
Right.
It's like a little game. Figure it out.
Right.
It's a problem. How am I going to do it so I can build the pot up so he remains interested in the pot, but I don't scare him away?
Jack. 777.
And just like that, Barry goes from down 7,000 probably down to like 5,000, makes about 2,500 back.
5-way action here. We had a race, multi-way, and Mo's got ace-queen. Mo was the pre-flop raiser, so he's hit his hand.
Yeah, nobody else has got much of anything. Mo has really had a bad go of it tonight as well, huh?
Mo's going to bet 300 here.
I told you about when you have some matches if the door card is perfect, the other two suck. 2 clubs?
I gotta tell you, I hit the spot. I had a spicy tuna roll earlier this afternoon and a rainbow roll. That's like one of my favorite things.
The rainbow?
Yeah, but I don't, I try to keep it healthy. I ask them not to put mayonnaise in the crab. You can just get it without mayonnaise, California roll. You know.
Huh? I do know.
Not as crazy as you, though, with the uni.
I'll eat anything once, man. Hey.
No, I know. They're most food I like, but there's certain things. I'm not a huge fan of roe, either.
Salmon roe?
Yeah, you're a big fan of that smelt egg or quail egg.
I like smelt egg and
right?
I like quail egg.
Yeah.
Salmon roe is not my favorite. They're a little bigger eggs. I'm not a big fan of that. Allen with ace-king hearts here in the small blind. How's he going to play it? He just completes. And I got to tell you, when Mike is out of that pot, I'm probably going to raise this up for value. I'm also maybe going to win the pot right there. Ace 8-7. Now the problem with this is.
And he checked it, Dave.
He's good. He's fine. The problem is he has no idea where he's at, though. Deuce on the turn, and I think he's still good. Yeah, he is.
Is he going to bet?
Has no idea where anybody's
Well,
at.
it's a third spade. Is he scared of that? No one has a spade in the hand.
No. At this point with ace-king, I want to keep this pot as small as possible and see if I can just win it the way it is. And he's going to bet 100, and that pretty much tells everybody that he's got something. Barry not going to get involved, throws it away. Allen takes it down.
Butt moves here to Mo.
You've been kind of snappy.
Excuse me, butt moves to Allen. We got time for maybe 2 more hands. And then we'll see you Sunday.
Sunday for a little tournament.
Sunday
Sunday for a little poker tournament, huh?
Yeah.
Little ladies tournament. Hopefully some of the ladies will be some smoking ladies.
Smoking ladies, huh?
Smoking ladies.
Dave, are you playing?
I'd like to. I'd like to put a skirt on. Legally they can't stop me.
Ace Jack 10 here. Allen is in the hand with King Deuce. Can't quite tell who the other player is in the hand. Is it surrender? Can't see his hand. Check, check. Turns another 10. And the river's a 4.
Oh, surrender's got a 10. He's got trip 10s.
Yeah, and he checked the turn as well. Wow. And now he's going to bet. And Allen folds. I know you were growing up young before you moved to Long Island in upstate New York, kind of a, I don't know if you would call it kind of like a hicky, trashy area where the point I'm trying to make is you've heard those commercials where the guy goes,
What points are you making?
Sunday, like you big NASCAR fan, like that type of thing, little like.
No, I'm not from Alabama.
Upstate New York.
Oh, we weren't NASCAR fans. What exactly are you saying?
Did you ever go up to Watertown, New York?
Are you trying to say that I'm from some hick white trash area?
Hey, you said it, not me.
No, actually, I didn't say it.
Well,
Man, the amount of times you put your foot in your mouth, it's unbelievable.
Trish is going to raise it up here with Pocket Kings. Makes it 170.
No, we weren't NASCAR fans up there. Pretty much hockey, lacrosse, and baseball. Yeah, I think NASCAR was really a Southeast thing growing up. At least when I was growing up.
Well, Allen has called Trish's raise with the Ace-10 offsuit.
2 players.
Very much trouble.
Kip Bart just trying to get away from the subject. Well, not trouble anymore. The Ace-10 jack
Top and
flop.
bottom.
How do you like that flop if you're Trish? She does have a gut shot if the queen were to come. He's not going to slow play this, is he?
He calls.
You got a pair, Alan?
Well, maybe he's on a club draw. Turns an 8. She could catch king or queen.
And she checks. He bets 500.
Well, again, a lot of times checking isn't going to give you information, but against Allen it is because he wouldn't bet clubs here.
No,
if
he
you
takes
checked, you would know he's on clubs if you check behind
Right.
him.
And the river was a king. Wow. The river would have brought a one-liner to a straight and a set of kings there for Trish, but obviously how can she continue?
And I believe this is going to be the last hand of the night.
Really?
Yeah. I think I heard that in my ear, right?
Did you?
Perfect.
You hear things I don't hear, I swear.
Well, you said you can't hear. You're like 45% deaf, aren't you, or something?
40, come
Oh,
on.
40. Legally, is that legally deaf?
No,
Legally
actually,
deaf?
I have a hearing problem.
But you don't wear hearing aids.
I got my money back. But bad
Were you one of those kids that was picked on when you were little, when you had
No,
hearing
that's
aids
why I
in like
wouldn't wear 'em.
elementary school?
Took them out. I was like, fuck these. Throw 'em out. So how much do these cost, Dad? Yeah, whatever. They're in the garbage
You
can.
can't hear you, Red. That's a funny thing. Mike is going to raise it up here out of the big blind.
I'll tell you, man, Ray giving me some crap.
I haven't had a flop yet. And if you have
Alan's going to call.
She's charge of you, you're capable of you.
Surrender's going to call.
Always listen to your mom.
Well, Surrender's on the button with Queen 9. That's about as loose as we've seen him play here all night.
Yeah.
4 players.
4-way action. 7-5 deuce
Wow,
and
and
a
Alan's
couple
flop,
diamonds.
top and bottom. I'm sorry, bottom two.
Bottom 2.
Trish with top pair. She's going to bet it.
Yeah.
150.
Sorry, those cards makes me good.
Mike throws his ace-jack down. Can't believe he did not flop top pair. I mean, how can you have ace-jack and not flop pair?
And Alan is going to raise it up.
Wow, and what do you do with 7-8 here?
I think it's an easy laydown.
Easy, right? Against Alan, and
Yep.
she does. That's going to do it, huh? What a night. I got to tell you, man,
And Alan
I
shows
love
it.
Live to Bike during Legends.
Alan shows it. And that was a great little, we had almost an hour and a half or an hour or so with Brent Carter.
Yeah, he's a really, very interesting guy.
Very interesting guy. 2-time World Series poker
Yeah.
bracelet holder. We will be back here on Sunday at noon time. And it will be open to everyone who can
Noon,
watch
that's
the
early.
final. I know, I was going to say, man, should be here at
Jesus.
noon.
Noon? That means I got to wake up at like 11:40.
All right, Burbank. So we'll see you. We'll see you in a couple days. We'll see you on Sunday. For everybody here in the booth, Dave Tuckman, I'm Bart Hanson. Good night, everybody, from Live the Bike.